stream and one of your streamers says, "Oh, wait, sorry," it feels like that sets exactly the right tone. So thank you for that, Zero. I really appreciate it. What a great way to come into it. Are we live, by the way, Matt?
We are live.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Welcome.
I'm getting to your channel now.
I got it. My screen is black. Is that okay?
What in what? In Discord or elsewhere?
Oh, Roll20.
Strange. Maybe relay.
Oh, okay.
And
I'll try
welcome
that.
to Distemper.
Yeah. Oh, wait, let's get started. So, thank you for joining in. Welcome to December. We're having a few technical issues, which feels like the the par for the course whenever you're doing this kind of thing. So, appreciate that anybody that is streaming, and appreciate Grumpy Battersby for getting this all set up and streaming through his channel for us. So, hey, welcome back to the players. I kind of wanted to do a little bit of a reset, right? I feel that last time I was so excited to get playing again that I really rushed us through kind of character creations. So I'm gonna give a recap of where we are and what's going on. But I would then like you guys, if you wouldn't mind, to reintroduce your characters so that we all know, what other people that are living in the town might know about them. That work?
Sounds fair.
Beautiful. Well, look, so in terms of a recap, so today is, let me go back to the map page. I'm going to need to up my Roll20 skills if I'm going to be talking and GMing and being like waving at the camera as well. So our tale opened 403 days after the first recorded death, which puts it somewhere in April of the year after. So you're in, let me turn off all sounds here. I've got email going in the background and a bunch of stuff. Apologies for any noise on your side. So in 403 days since the first recorded death, it puts us in about April. You're in Astoria, Oregon, which has been the town where, for a variety of different reasons, you've either grown up there or ended up there after the pandemic. And, again, our story really started out in a very kind of innocuous way, right? You guys were out on the pier, just doing some fishing, which has become part of your chore. And a couple of the residents of the town got into a little bit of a pushing match, right? And so there was some backwards and forwards. And then you guys ended up that evening invited to old Tom's birthday party, such as it was, which is in McClure Park. And actually, if I go back to the map of Astoria, I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is this is where you were when you were fishing yesterday. If you can see where I'm pinging, can someone confirm they can see that? By the way,
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep, everything's gone.
Yep.
Beautiful. Thank you for re-pinging whoever gave me that little echo boost there or signal boost. And this is the park last night where old Tom, who's one of the older residents of town, was turning 72. So a bunch of people turned up at the park to kind of help him celebrate, such as it is, right? And most nights, Tom's been gathering there. He lives just on the outside of the park. And he's been gathering there and starting a bonfire, right? And there's often other people will come in and join him from the town just to kind of have a little bit of company. So as you guys were sitting there last night, two strangers turned up, right? So these two new people, Dulcie and Jace, they turned up and asked if they could, they saw your lights, they were moving on up the coast. They wanted to kind of join in with you and eat and spend the evening, and they claimed they were hungry. And then they asked if they could stay the night. So Sven offered to put them up at the Bowline Hotel, but without putting words in your mouth, Sven, I don't think you really trusted them. Is that fair?
Yeah, I didn't have a very good sense about him, but being the friendly bloke I am, I accommodated.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't come back and bite you at the end of the world, right? Or because being
that would never happen.
It's usually a good skill in the post-apocalypse, being trustworthy and likable. So, you'd sat up watching all night, as I remember, right? And then you went over and you realized you've been dozing in and out, and you went over and you realized that the door was actually open where you thought it was closed. And just as you were kind of looking at that or thinking about what was going on, you heard a scream from behind you. So let me stop there before we get rolling, because again, I'm going to get you guys to reintroduce yourself. But were there any salient details that you guys remember that I left out from the recap?
I think I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to shove a stick in Marco's bicycle spokes. I think that's the only other thing I can remember.
Yeah, Marco was a fixer as far as I remember, and we traded a few things with him.
Hey, you're coming through a little bit muffled there, Matt. I'm not sure if your head was away from the direction of the mic.
Can you hear me?
Oh, so much better, so much clearer.
Okay, sorry. I think Marco was a fixer, and we traded with him a bit, and he was going off to find some other stuff. Or
It's a nice way of putting it. I think he would probably consider himself like a professional scavenger, right? But that was a good way of putting it. Yeah, so that was Mark, and he was there when there was the little tussle between the people on the beach.
I'm getting page unresponsive on row 20 now.
Is that the same thing that Mina was getting earlier?
Okay.
I don't.
I don't know. I'm asking.
I can see it fine.
Yeah, it looks like the API died, Matt. I got the API window up, so I just restarted it. Is that any better, Zero?
Uh,
I think he has connection issues, not
I
API
logged
issues.
out and logged back in.
okay, I think it's working now, but yeah, it seems like it takes 2 or 3 refreshes to get the map to load up.
Okay.
Mine's still not loaded, but I'm trying.
Really? Funny. So I was having problems with Discord. Hey, Matt, can you confirm that you're streaming? Because I still see it as being. Wait, are you streaming as me?
Correct.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were streaming as you through your channel.
Not host anymore, so have to stream as you now.
No worries, no worries.
That explains why the command didn't go through for me then.
Yeah,
Which command?
host. There's no hosting
I
on
was just gonna
Twitch
host you,
anymore.
that's why.
They canned it a few months back. So
I blame Ninja.
hey, let's stop blaming.
Curses.
So what do you see?
Just a nice black screen. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing wrong, but
Okay. Tony, can you check Maria's enter and make sure she's...
Hey, Matt, your mic's doing a really wonky thing. Like, you sound like you're underwater half the time.
I mean, I can pull up my character sheet and all. But,
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I could do that, but I can't. There's no map, so I don't know if that's a.
Yeah, she showed me a screenshot. It's like the map doesn't load at all.
Okay, let me try and switch to another screen and see whether or not that fixes it for her.
Did that change anything?
Let me reload. Negative. I guess I'll just watch on Twitch and kind of direct you where I need to go from there.
Kind of sucks that you can't see it though. What happens if you press Shift and F5? Does that change anything, or is it just still the same?
Okay, Shift F5.
I should force a reload or a refresh.
No, it didn't. Sorry.
Oh, bummer. Well, as long as you can see it, like, I mean, as long as you're able to join in or kind of like, see it through the Twitch stream and participate, then that's something, right?
Yep, that's what I'll end up doing.
All right, beautiful. Okay. All right, so again, before we get back into kind of the adventure as was, or as is, what do you guys know about each other? Let's just do some reintroductions. What do you guys remember or know about one another?
Not too much. I don't think unless we'd been hanging out in this town a while, then I would have got to know people a little bit, which I think was the case, right?
By getting to know them, it could be just that you'd been at the beach, or rather the pier. I keep saying the beach, right? But like fishing with them every day, I'm not sure if that really counts as getting to know people,
Right. Just sort of like loose neighbor vibe things.
Yeah.
I just remember I ended up there and I was just going with the flow, and I don't trust anybody. So
Smart lady.
So did you get her skills? I think we sent them. I don't remember.
I don't remember seeing them. You may have sent them to me, and I did. You put them in Discord?
I think I did. I know I'm gonna have to scroll up a little bit. Here we are. Okay. I'll repost them.
Thank you so much. I had missed it. So Sven, let's start with you. What would the other people know about you from just kind of like hanging around, seeing you at the dock every now and then? What do you think the rest of the team would know about you?
Well, they probably know that I've lived here quite some time. I'm quite a sociable individual. Quite talkative with everybody. I'm willing to get to know everybody, willing to give everybody a chance, and I really like the Goonies, apparently. Yep. It's the whole reason why I'm here.
This town is the birthplace of the Goonies, for anyone that doesn't remember that kind of inside joke. Not for any good reason. None at all. Like, I found that out after I'd started plotting all this out, but it does seem strangely appropriate. All right, thank you for that. Teach, let's flip over to you. What is the now that you know what you know about Sven, what does everyone else know about you?
Teach is an affable guy from the local school. He came from Detroit and only just moved in, so he's about a month in before everything went to hell. He's a nice guy and will share whatever he's got. Just
Thank
to
you.
fit in.
Lance, I think that you might be the most enigmatic of the group. I'm not sure, but given your background, I think that you might be an enigma wrapped in a riddle. So, what would the rest of the team know about you, or the rest of the inhabitants, I should say?
That I came from. I want to say New York. Let's say from. I was a bodyguard for a Wall Street exec.
Thank you. Lasso Mino, Sarah. It is Sarah. No, Maria. I'm sorry.
yes, I lived in a bad neighborhood, and I went to the military, and I remember stopping back here before I went to the military. And when I retired, I came back here to see what was going on, to see if I need any supplies and stuff. So, yeah.
Did you come back before or after the pandemic?
After the pandemic.
Okay. Are you a deserter? Can we call you a deserter?
Well, I kind of retired or dishonorably discharged. So.
I love that you gave yourself a dishonorable discharge. I love that. I love that was part of the story.
She mentioned also maybe something like being a soldier of fortune as well.
Yes, because I when I was in the neighborhood, I kind of hooked up with some gangs and stuff. And the reason why I joined the military is so I could get some extra skills to get some extra skills for skills.
Hey, who doesn't want to be a killer? I like to know that I can kill people with my thumbs as well, Maria. So I'm kind of with you on some of those choices there. All right, Lance and Maria, did you two know each other? Is there any kind of correlation or connection between your characters?
I'm thinking not.
No.
Okay. All right, perfect. I wasn't entirely sure, just because of again, secretive characters and characters with kind of like that specialized background. I didn't know if you two had been in town because of each other. But anyway, all right. So getting back to what happened. So as I mentioned, so Sven went over to Sven has been looking at been watching the Bowline Hotel all night, where he put these people up. And you may remember I posted the picture. kind of a rickety place, right? This isn't like a Marriott or somewhere. This is kind of a local hotel that's kind of appears to be almost floating on the sea. So, Sven, when you went there and you realized the door was open, you just started to look at it when you hear a truly bone-curdling scream coming from behind you. So, you're here, Sven. Where are the rest of you at the moment? And again, it's Sven, what is it, like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning? Do you remember when it was?
I believe we were talking daybreak, so it probably was pretty early, whatever time I would be getting up to get out on the boat.
Yeah. So, Teach and the rest of you, can you guys remind me where you live? Was it just in random houses down here, or did you pick somewhere you wanted to be your kind of like your base?
I probably have a house, probably like a really small 1-bedroom little place. I just,
Yep.
shack up in, and if it sucks, I'll move to someplace else. But this day, I remember I was across the street from the hotel because I wasn't keen on those strangers being in town.
Yeah.
And then I think you said when the next day came around, there was something that was unlocked that I was sure was locked the night before.
Oh, that's right. It was the door. I was confusing what your character had done and what my apologies. It's been like a month or so. I was confusing what your character had done and what Sven had done. Right. So you'd been looking at the locked door, and you'd gone over and realized that they were no longer in the hotel. That's when we heard the scream. Teach, where do you live? And Maria, where do you live?
You mean now?
Yeah, like in the game. Like, is Maria is she put herself up in a hotel? Is she living in the Burger King? Was she staying in one of these? Like, there's lots of residential areas all around here in the town, right? So she's just living in one of the houses. Like, where would she be? Where would she be resting?
I'm trying to see on the map, so bear with me.
Sure. Let me actually send you a link to it. Oh, you can't. You're not in Discord. Right, I'm not in Discord. Are you in Discord?
Yeah.
I'm not in Discord. Discord's still not working for me. Let me send you a map to this place so you can move around.
All our powers combined, we've got a working computer.
Oh my God.
Make this work.
Everyone has a piece of the puzzle. That's what we have to remember.
I bring the browser. I'll bring Discord.
While you're doing that, then Teach, I think you gave him a house. He was down in sort of this area, just off the main strip of the. So, but he had his own house.
Yep.
Apartment.
Oh, I had marked it. You're right. So I actually have an offline map that I'm looking at now, or a picture of a map. So I will transpose this. I'd made notes. I will transpose all of this between now and the next session, so it's online. I mean, I just posted a link to Astoria. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, so you can look at it. And then let me just show you the rough map I've got.
Okay.
So, so if you look on the Twitch stream, hopefully you should see it. So
yes.
This is where you guys were fishing in the morning. This is the hotel where the noise has gone off. Okay. This is Teach's house that's just in one of the residential areas. And this is the park that you guys gathered in the night before. So just to make it nice and easy, if you're up for it, I can say that you happen to have a house that's just maybe there. Does that work for you?
Sure, that'll work.
Beautiful. All right, so again, early in the morning, right? Lance and Sven are up, right? But Teach and Maria, you're woken by some horrible screams, right? Like truly some blood-curdling screams, right? And it seems to be coming from around this area, right? And so what do you guys do? Maria, Teach, you're in bed, and again, this is kind of like equidistant between you. Sven and Lance, you're over in this area here. And again, the screams are kind of coming from back here. So what are you guys doing?
The screams aren't at the hotel where the two people stayed?
No, they're not, that's not where the noises are coming from. They're coming from behind you. Much closer, actually, to where you were the night before in that park, you know?
Is it a female or male scream?
A female scream. Definitely a female scream.
Teach grew up in Detroit, so he's kind of used to a lot of noise in the street. He was in a rough neighborhood and stuff. He'd probably still be asleep.
Yeah, I'm like him. I'm going to go back to bed. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna run towards it. Obviously, if there's a scream, I'm heading that way.
I guess I'll get up and I'll look too and see what's going on.
How loud are we talking, Tony?
Loud, right? Loud enough where someone's trying to get attention, right? And again, it doesn't sound like a muted scream. Someone like, I mean, you can hear it, right? The more it goes on, you can hear it. Someone's screaming, oh my God, right? And it's like they've discovered something horrible or terrible.
Okay, I'll grab my shotgun and whiz down the stairs. I'll probably just be in a t-shirt and undies running towards the problem, because that's a good idea.
Yeah, I've always felt that if you ever see a naked or semi-naked man running in the same direction. Like, don't run towards him. Run like whatever direction he's running. Because if he's naked and hasn't had time to put clothes on before addressing the source of his terror, it's a big fucking deal, right? So just keep moving. So I would agree with you, mate. I think that's probably the right way to do. So, like, get in your underwear and see if you can really freak people out as you get there. I like that. Maria, are you going to be clothed, or are you also going to be in your undies running around?
I'll be clothed.
Thank you. A little bit of sense of modesty goes a long way. I appreciate that. All right,
I don't know what you're missing.
I think we're all going to find out what we're missing in a moment when you turn up half naked, right? Carrying a shotgun.
Clothes is the answer. That's what I'm missing.
All right, so Naked Teach is kind of running across town, like flailing, I think, kind of heading towards I'm on the wrong map. So heading towards this area. Maria, I believe you're also heading towards this area, if I understood, but not in your undies. What are you, Lance and Sven, put yourself in this picture. Where are you at the moment?
Where was the hotel? I was across the street from the hotel, so I imagine I was up over this way.
Is this the hotel? Hotel's the circle on the right.
Okay, so I was like across the way, so I was probably right in that area.
What about you, Sven?
Is it possible that we'd recognize the scream as one of the residents?
Feel free to make an acumen check. I mean, make an acumen check, see if you can place it.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that check come up.
What do you mean?
I made an acumen check and I didn't see it in chat.
Oh, hold on.
Refresh real quick.
Yeah, I don't see anything popping up in the Roll20 either.
Well, you did restart the API, so I'll restart Roll20 quick.
Let me pop that out again, actually. That sounded stranger than I meant. Let me see if I can get that chat channel coming out and standing.
Yeah, after Teach in his undies.
Yeah.
You need to move the ribbon to the page that we're on.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, sorry, yeah. All right, there you go. Thanks, Matt.
No, it's now make the roll. There you go.
There you go. Sven, I'm not sure if you can see. There you go. Come out success. Yeah, so Sven, you think you recognize it, right? And you know, it sounds it's got a distinctive like vocal timbre to it, right? So it's a middle-aged woman, but that could describe one of the half dozen people that you met last night. The voice is familiar to you.
All right. The reason why I'm curious is because I'm probably going to stop and check on the new people first, just to make sure they're still there. So I'm going to be at the hotel still.
Yeah. So you put them in a room the night before. You showed them to a room. So as you get there, you recognize it dawns on you before you even get there. Like, it's just empty. They're not there anymore, right? So, you know, they maybe they climbed out a window. Maybe they went out the side exit. You're not really sure where they went or how they went, but they're not right there. They're not there right now.
Okay. And then after that, I'll probably book it to the sound as well.
All right. So as you guys approach this, let me go back. Let me drag the ribbon. So there's some, you're not the only ones, right? So there are people starting to gather. You see, like maybe 5 or 10 people have all started to gather around, and it's the woman that's screaming. You recognize her as soon as you get close to her. You recognize her as being one of the people that was there last night, right? So she was there. She's kind of like mid-40s. She's like brunette. You'd seen her earlier or the night before. You'd seen her with you can't remember if it was 1 or 2 kids, but you had seen her with a kid. So she's standing and she's screaming, and a bunch of people have gathered around. And as you approach, you see she's talking to these people.
These people, as in someone's going to show up on screen, or these people, as in
No. The people that gathered
map
around. Sorry, I wasn't changing maps.
Okay.
Sorry, it wasn't meant to be something that popped up on the screen. No, she's just talking to a handful of people that have also been roused by the screams, right? And again, super early. So Teacher's not the only one that's in his underwear, right? No one, except maybe Sven, who gets up early and goes fishing. No one's really looks like they're prepared for the day.
So the woman is the one that was
just standing around. I was gonna say I'll just push my way up there.
What were you saying, Matt?
I was gonna say, so it's the woman that was yelling and screaming, but she stopped. But now she's talking.
Stopped. She's only stopped because she's talking to people, right? And again, like it seems like she's explaining something as you guys get closer and closer.
Okay, so I'll just close up, see if I can overhear what's going on. But I'll face outwards to just make sure whatever it is isn't sneaking up on us.
And you're carrying a shotgun, right?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that freaks out. There's probably 10 to 15 people that have gathered around at this point, right? So, as they see you running towards them, and again, you're half naked and carrying a shotgun, a few of them look concerned, right? Until one of them obviously recognizes you and says, "Oh, it's Teach," right? So, but your appearance there has freaked them out because people still aren't carrying guns, right? Like they didn't know if other people had assumed you could have been the cause of the screaming.
I misread blood curdling to be in danger.
Oh no, I don't think you misread it, but people aren't used to guns being wielded still at this point,
I thought we said some people. Never mind. Okay.
As well.
Cool. In which case, I probably wouldn't have brought gun. But never mind. That's fine.
No, I kind of like the idea of you being there half naked with a gun and freaking people out. So I don't think we're gonna.
Well, my character's foibles are protection, actually. So hence run and protect.
All right, beautiful. That makes sense. So, as you guys get closer, what are you doing? Are you just ascertaining what's going on, and are you trying to talk to the ladies? Help me understand what you're doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, if everyone's circled around schoolyard style, then I'm trying to get into the ring to see what's going on, see what all the yelling's about. I mean, if she's clearly talking to some individual, she doesn't need more people in her face. So I'm just kind of trying to join the schoolyard ring to see what's up.
So, as you get closer, you specifically, Sven, she looks at you and she points at you and she was like, "This guy, this is the guy." And she looks super angry, right? So a couple of the people that are standing with her looks around and she's pointing at you and she says, it's very easy to pick up from what she screams at you. Her daughter has been taken, right? These people that you welcomed into the town last night, she keeps pointing a finger at you. These people that you said could stay in the hotel. She woke up 20 minutes ago. She went looking for her daughter because she was going to try and take her down to the pier and go fishing early, and her daughter's not there. So she's put 2 and 2 together, and she believes that those people that you welcomed into the town have taken her daughter.
How well do I know this woman?
You recognize her. Her name is Rachel, right? You'd spoken to her the night before, and she was close by when those people had said, like, when Jason Dolce, the two newcomers, had said, "Hey, is there anywhere to stay?" She was close enough to hear you say that they could stay at the hotel. So whether or not she's right or wrong, and you don't even know for sure that they've taken her daughter. All you know is they're no longer in the hotel and her daughter's gone. So she might be right, she might be wrong, but she's certainly blaming you for it.
All right, and I assume at this point everyone's staring at me.
Yeah.
They
break up every now and then to stare at Teach because he is half naked with a shotgun. So that's the only thing that distracts them from you and your guilt.
I'm going to style it out.
Just rocking it.
Yeah. Just own it.
I'll probably just stammer to myself for a little bit. What do you mean, me? Anybody? Come on.
So
I didn't hear anybody else welcome or say no or whatnot. Anybody could have said something.
And so there's another guy, someone you don't recognize, actually says, like, can we just stop pointing fingers at each other? He says to Rachel, when was the last time you saw your daughter? And she says it was the night before, right? She hasn't seen her since she put them, said goodnight before she went to bed. So, this guy is trying to calm this down. Again, you don't recognize him. He's just one of the many people that have survived. You haven't spoken to him, but he's trying to calm her down because, pointing fingers doesn't seem to be useful or fruitful.
Internally, I'll appreciate the gesture because I'm so flabbergasted at the moment.
As Teach, I'll come in and try and take a little bit of control of things and say, "Hey, look, where did you put these guys up? Maybe we can track them down. Whether they did or didn't,
yeah, I
we
was
don't know."
thinking that. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'll go back to I did a quick look and they weren't in their room, so I could go back and see if I can find out anything.
Where did you put them?
Right down first floor of the hotel.
Okay, give me 5 to get some pants on, and I'll meet you over there.
Yeah, I'll meet you at the entrance.
Maria and Lance, while they're taking care of he doesn't want to dangle for anyone's delight, and I completely understand that. So while Teach is taking care of his coverings, what are Lance and Maria up to?
So did I get to the screen?
Yep.
And what's going on? Sorry, I've been messing with the Roll20. It's been really jank.
No worries. So, so those two strangers came in last night. Sven told them they could stay in the Bowline Hotel. You guys have been woken up by the scream of a woman who's in the town who says that her 14-year-old daughter is missing. And she was there the night before, and she's convinced these two people, because she got a weird feeling about them. She's saying she's convinced these two people must have snuck into her house and stolen, kidnapped her daughter and taken them. So and she's blaming Sven, by the way, just because it said that they could stay in the town. So she's kind of picking on him. Teach was also half naked, which was like the highlight of the session for me so far. But he's going to put some clothes on, which is kind of bringing a bit of a downer to it for me. So I think that's a fair summary of where we are. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, where are the two strangers then? Do they came to the scream also?
No one knows.
They're missing.
Yeah. The door that you'd kind of gone to look at last night, it's open. Sven has gone in to check on them, if I remember correctly, and then they weren't there. So maybe this woman Rachel is right. Maybe they took her daughter, but it's also could be a leap 2 and 2 equals 5.
Yeah. Well, it's a plausible thing. Either way, we got to find the two strangers to confirm or disprove it, right?
So Rachel looks at you, the mother looks at you as she says that, and she says, he's right, we're going to have to break up in search parties and go after her. So Sven and Teach, you're kind of heading off to the hotel at this point, right? So let me just get everyone's bearings. This is where all the screaming is, and the hotel is over there. So it's like a block away or something,
Mm-hmm.
So the mother is suggesting the people break into search parties. The guy that kind of stood off you a little bit, Sven, the guy that was trying to calm everything down, he seems to think that's a really good idea. So it seems like there's maybe 20 people that are gathered at this point, and people are starting to break up into pairs, right, or into like little groups to go off and kind of form their own search parties and go and look for this girl. So let me just bring up the map of the area. Right. So, oh, hold on. There we go. So again, like this is really where we are at the moment. Let me ping this for you. This is really where things are taking place at the moment over here. People are starting to break into search parties. What do you guys plan on doing? And are you even going to help? Like, what do you plan on doing?
I got a question. Are those bridges still intact? Because those bridges were really big and long.
Yeah. So it's really only like a year since the beginning of the pandemic, right? So all infrastructure over time will degrade and it will start to fall apart. But right now, these bridges, it's only been a year since there was, the last work was done on them, right? So as yet, they're not falling into the sea and they're pretty solid.
If any groups had walked across the bridge, would they have been noticed? I'm trying to rule out them crossing the bridge if we can.
Yeah, I don't think you can rule that out at this point, right? Like it's still super early in the morning. At this point, it's like maybe 20 to 6, right? It's still very, very early. There's no communication network. The only people that are aware of what's been going on have been the people that are attracted by the screams. So even if they were over here, you'd have no way of knowing it unless you went over there and tried to talk to anyone that was over there or over here, like whichever. And there's another bridge actually over there and another bridge over here. So I kind of up to you, right? I mean, and certainly you'd be able to see people because there's no cars moving or anything, right? So any kind of movement is fairly noticeable.
Let's see. Is somebody wanting to organize the search? I didn't know if we want somebody stepping up, or am I that guy?
You may well be that guy, right? There's a few people that are talking, and the mother's a little bit. Sorry, go
ahead.
No, go on.
I'm gonna say if we are gonna break up into groups, we want to make sure we're not double searching the same area. We want to make sure it's organized.
Great. So the mother Rachel and the guy that kind of stood up as Sven a little bit, right? They both agree, right? They look at you like you're making a lot of sense, right? So, and by this time, Mark has turned up, the guy that was on the bike, right? Because he also lives in this area. So he's turned up, and as always, he's wheeling his little bike next to him. So the mother starts saying to people, starts pointing directions that they should go in, right? So she says to the guy she's standing next to that she wants to head this way, right? She's gonna walk along the coast and see if they can find them. What are you guys going to do? Which way do you want to
go? All right. I'll say Group A, west, Group B, south, whatever. And then I'll form the head. And I guess whoever's with me, Voltron will form up.
When we were in the open area, which is the open area, Tony? Is it this one in the middle?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Because it's nice and open, which way did the two come from?
So they came up from the south, right? So they very much kind of came up this way, right? And what they'd said, let me switch to the map of the area. What they'd said was that they're actually kind of heading this way, right? They were trying to find their way because this is all I don't have let me see if I've got a bigger map of the area. I don't think I do. So around here is kind of this is the if you go along here, it's the kind of most northern part of Oregon. So that's where they said they were heading to, right? They'd just been heading to this tip, and they were just going to settle there and do some fishing.
Sorry, if you were clicking there, nothing came up on the screen. No one.
You're right.
So they were coming
you had to zoom
from
way out.
south. Sorry.
Yep. No, they were coming from this direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you can see where I'm pinging now.
Southwest, yep.
Yep. And they said that this is the direction they were heading in, right? Where I'm pinging now, on the furthest area of the map, because that's the coast, right? So they said that's where they'd been heading, and they'd sort of seen the lights in the town, and they decided to head over your way and see if there was anything there to eat.
So it makes sense to go. Makes sense to go in both directions. One where they came from, and one where they say they're heading to. If we think it's those guys, yeah. How convinced are we? Say to the woman.
You know, she gets almost angry, right? And she's kind of like, so, you know, first of all, you show up naked. Secondly, you got a gun. And thirdly, you're asking, like, you're questioning her logic, right? And so she doesn't have a lot of reasoning that's going on here, right? She's just, you know, things haven't been good in the town because of the pandemic, but to her, it's too much of a coincidence that the first time new people or strangers show up, her daughter also goes missing that same night, right? So in her mind, there's a direct correlation, even if there's no real, you know, proof to support that.
So who, besides her and her daughter, is there anybody else with her? Or is it just her and her daughter?
It's just her and her daughter. Her husband and you know, any other children had died in the pandemic, right? Now, again, you saw her the night before at the park with some of the other residents. So, you know that she lives here, and you've seen her daughter. Like, if you think about it, you can kind of picture her kid as well. So you don't really doubt that. But at the same time, like, it's you know, dark new world. Who really knows what's real or what?
Is she sane? Does she come up normal?
Yeah. And she did last night, right? You had a conversation with her last night at dinner, and she came off perfectly normal there as well.
I'm used to dealing with people that are nutball and just losing it, being a teacher. So I'm going to impose my will on her, try and calm her down, and ask her when was the last time she
calm her down.
Yeah, and find out when it is that she last saw her daughter. How much of a head start have these guys got, if it truly is them? We need some real facts.
Yeah, so she actually seems like relieved that you're asking of this, right? That you're taking it seriously. So let's have you make a skill roll of some kind to see if you can kind of calm it down. So whatever you think is appropriate. Inspiration, charm,
No.
Intimidation.
Whatever you think is right.
Well, I mean, yeah. Where are we? Here we go.
Gonna chill the F out right now.
I cannot click on her to intimidate her.
Oh yeah, because we're not on the park.
Let me move back. That really painted you in your best light. I cannot click on her to intimidate her.
I can't point at her to intimidate her. Which one is she? It doesn't really matter.
She's hold on. Oh, hold on. I'm on the wrong screen. I keep going to the Twitch screen and trying to move people. She is standing right now.
Rachel.
She is standing on the table. Yeah, Rachel.
Okay, Rachel, get a bit of intimidation.
Wow. I'm going to scare you into telling me the truth.
Wow, no, I'm not. I'm gonna, at the same time as sort of trying to force her to slow down and shut up, I confuse it with too many nice words and don't get anything out of her.
Yeah, that wasn't your finest moment, was it? Like, I feel that if anyone's ever seen that movie Airplane, I feel this is like when you were trying to calm the woman down and you grabbed her by the shoulders and just shook her as hard as you could to calm her down. I feel that's what you just did there.
That should work.
It should, but look at his dice roll. Like, it wasn't the rules that said it wouldn't work. It was his bad luck. That's all it was.
Crazy.
Listen here, you sensible woman from Sven. Yeah, so she rejects you kind of manhandling her, right? And she's like, hey, take your hands off me. We need to figure out where my daughter is, right? Now, you had asked her a question, so even though you failed, she does answer your question, but she answers it angrily. And she says, I haven't seen her since we went to bed last night, so she could have been gone 5, 6, 7 hours for all I know.
Right.
Can we see the house where she slept? Can we see the room?
This woman seems like kind of annoyed that you'd even ask her that, but yeah, she's like, I mean, like, only annoyed from the perspective of like her daughter's gone missing and you want to act like a policeman, right? But she points at a house that's literally like literally just like a few foot away, and she's like, "That's my house, Sherlock. Knock yourself out." But we need to figure out how to find my daughter. So she doesn't really care what you're doing, and if you want to look through her house, you're more than welcome. But she's more interested in trying to get the other people around to help her form search parties.
Well, hold on. Let's get all the facts in order here. Maybe, so does she sleep in a room? And if she would leave, would she be walking by you, or can she sneak out a window? Is the window open? What's going on over here?
So she realizes you're asking good questions, right? And she doesn't have any answers for them, right? So she points to the house, and again, because it's just over the way, right? And she's like, I don't know. I didn't check her window. I just assumed, right? And so she starts walking over to the house, and a couple of the people that have gathered start following her because again, she just went in to get her daughter up. She found her daughter wasn't there, and she freaked out.
All right, yeah, let's check it out together if we can.
So you're going over, Lance. Sven and Lance and Teach, you're heading over. Sven, what are you doing at the moment?
I was going to go back to the hotel, and I was just thinking during that time, while I'm looking through the rooms, I also want to check and see if I notice any boats missing.
So let's have you make a perception check with a +1 C mod.
Oh, my perception. Oh, no. I didn't go through because we're on this map.
Oh, hold on. Sorry. There you go. Try that again.
Oh, just barely.
Oh, dear. So you can't tell. You're not sure. I mean, maybe, right? You spend enough time looking at this landscape or the kind of the horizon that you know it fairly well, but there's enough boats there that maybe someone could have taken one and you wouldn't realize it. So it's pretty inconclusive.
All right, well, as long as my boat's still there.
Your boat is still there. They didn't take that.
Is there a high point in the town? If they've been hiking for an hour or something, I assume they're out of the town limits and we might be able to see them from a high point.
That's a really good point. So let me pull up a map of the town. I actually don't know.
I think you actually had a topography map, if I recall.
What map?
I think you actually had a topographical one at one
I do.
point.
You know, you're right.
Stop using those big words.
This one? Yeah, you're right, John.
Sorry,
So
map with high elevations.
Yeah, it's definitely
Cool
hilly.
places.
Top down
So
view.
Yeah, so I just put it up. Like, there's 3 maps. I forgot. John's memory is better than mine for the thing I created, right? So, like, if you scroll down, there are 3 different views of the same area, and one is a topological or topographical map. But I don't think there's anything there that's tall enough that you'd be able to see it. I'm not sure what the Astoria column is, but I'm not sure you're going to get a viewpoint that's basically 5 miles away or 4 miles away.
Yeah.
Let me
And
look
being
it up.
where we are, I can't imagine it not being foggy out.
Yeah, and it's still early in the morning, right? And it's April, so it's not like it's not terrible, but it's also a little bit gloomy,
I'm going to suggest Marco should actually ride his bike and probably start doing laps around the town. If not, at least go check these bridges.
Yeah, so he's willing to do that, but he says, "Hey, so there's 4 bridges. Like, which one am I checking for? Where am I starting? Which one am I going to first?"
That's a good point. Well,
Right,
I
3
would
bridges.
suggest, based on what Teach was saying, probably check this one down here first, and then work his way clockwise.
So, all right, perfect. So Mark's going to agree to, he agrees with your suggestion, right? Kind of like head down towards that bottom bridge and then kind of like double back on himself, right? So he's kind of leaving from where you are and he's going to be heading south and he's going to go there and then come back up and double back to where you guys are. The mother is insistent on, like, she's going to head in this direction with a little search party and see if they're heading north across the bridge. Because kind of to your point, if you get to that bridge, you should be able to see if anyone's moving their way across it, right? So she kind of feels that's where she should head to. So Mark's heading off on his bike. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna check the house out.
Right?
I'm gonna quietly sneak away and go in my room because it's not my problem.
I like that about you.
Ooh.
That's how you survive the post-apocalypse. All right. All right. So, Lance, what are you looking for in the house? And Teach, what are you going with him?
So the window where she supposedly slept in, it, like if it was a room, I guess it was on the first story of the building.
Yep.
Is it broken or?
No, but it is open. You can see that it's open, right? And given your background, you're pretty sure you could scale that if you had to, right? Like, I mean, it feels like it wouldn't be too much of a parkour for you to be able to get up the side of that building if you really wanted to, right? So you can see it's open a little bit. And again, it doesn't feel like it would be the most outrageous climb ever.
What about the screen? Is it there? Is it like popped out?
There's no screen on that window.
No screen.
And whether or not it's been ripped off, hard to say, right? But there's no screen on it.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I'll check out all the house, like inside out, anything out of place, anything suspicious.
Make a perception
And does
check.
the mom ever say where she slept? Like, could the daughter leave without her knowing?
Yeah, so the mother sleeps on the first floor, right? So you can both, like, she was happy enough to give you the answers, and you can ascertain this from looking at the house. She would, if she'd have left under her own volition, she would have had to have walked past her mother's bedroom to go down the stairs. But unless you go in and actively start like treading on the stairs, you wouldn't know whether or not that would have alerted her.
Hmm.
Can I see if the bed is slept in even?
Yeah, the bed's been slept in.
Signs of struggle?
No struggle, nothing like that.
No, nothing. No, nothing's broken, nothing's pushed over, nothing like that, right? So, if these people hadn't come to the town and you'd have heard this story from Rachel, you just assume the daughter had like wandered off on her own, right? Maybe she'd gone out like, foraging in the morning, right? Or maybe she had run away from home or something. But like nothing here would suggest that.
Like a bag or a backpack she keeps around with her? Like, is that missing?
Make it another perception check.
Perception.
Oh, wait. Let me move you onto the right map.
My roll 20 is completely broken. I don't think anything's going to roll for me. Oh, wait, maybe it will. There we go.
Try it again now.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, so yeah, you actually see like what you assume were the clothes that she had on yesterday are still on kind of a chair by the end of the bed, right? So if you had to make a guess, it doesn't really look like she's grabbed a bag and taken it with her, right? It still feels a little bit like the room is kind of lived in, right? And the sweat of with a roll like that with the 12, you saw her last night at the park, and it feels like the sweat that she had on last night you can see on the chair. So it looks like she may have left in a hurry, or no signs to you that she's taken or packed a bag.
Who the hell goes out with no clothes on? Dang.
Especially in April.
Is there a phone by the? Is there a clock or anything beside the bed? Did she set some sort of alarm for middle of the night?
There is a clock next to the bed, right? But it doesn't seem to be going off. And as you like click around on it, it doesn't seem like it's had any alarm set on it recently.
So, if they took her, she didn't go voluntarily. Then they came up into the bedroom, took her out. That's much more of a disturbance, or likely disturbance, than her sneaking off.
Yeah.
So can we find anything in the room next to the window or around the door? If her backpack still there, would seem weird. Is the mother still there?
She is, yeah.
Can I wander over to her and say, look, Lance is checking out everything. I just have one other question for you, and it might be a little... I want you to relax before I ask you the question.
Relax her with intimidation.
Does your daughter have any relationships with any of the other young kids around in the town?
So she looks a little bit affronted by that, right? So she's like, no, my Janice is a good girl, right? I haven't seen her. I know what you're getting at. I haven't seen any boys like hovering around her. Like, she's with me for the most part. So like, no, like that doesn't seem to be in her mind. That doesn't seem to be a possibility.
And I know kids, and they're kids. So
And
would you
we
be
would have
betting
noticed something like that, right?
Well, would we?
Maybe.
would
I
not.
figured it. Well, maybe. I don't know.
If she's sneaking on her own, that's much easier than somebody coming and taking her. So my point is to the woman, it would be much easier for her to sneak out and do this. So are we willing to bet us finding your daughter on that answer? Are you 100% sure? Who is she close friends with? Because we can check it out real quick.
The mother seems genuine enough, right? And she's kind of like, where have you been for the last couple of months? She doesn't have any friends left. Like, everyone's dead. Like there's no one, right? So, which is pretty accurate, right? 90% of people are gone, right? There's like 1 billion people left on the planet. So, all 9 out of 10 people are gone. She's lucky enough just to have her daughter left, right? But there's like really no one that she can think of in terms of any friends or anyone that she would be, likely to run away with.
Okay.
So, Lance, let's have you make another perception check while you're doing your kind of scouting around.
All right. Phew.
Yeah. So, Lance, as you're looking around, you do notice there's this area where you could do the parkour up to her room. There are like a couple, as you look outside and kind of like start to put together a picture, there are a couple of other footprints on the ground. So it does look like at least one person, and it's too hard to tell at the moment, but like it looks like at least one person has been under that window recently. And again, like the indentations in the mud or in the ground would suggest that they landed with some force. So you can make an assumption that maybe they jumped, as they were parkouring up and down to the window, they jumped onto the ground at some point.
Okay. Any direction I could tell they went, or is that just too
No, at least to a sidewalk, right? So there's like a little bit of her garden, right? And then that just goes off to the sidewalk. So no real way you can tell where they went after, presumably that, after they jumped down out of the window.
Just one set of tracks, Lance.
And I guess I checked the whole house. There's no basement or any weird hiding spots where someone could hide.
Yeah, no, and I mean, not really, right? It's just your average like one family home, And if someone wants to make a hunting check, you can see whether or not you can ascertain any more from the footprints.
I guess I can try.
Teach, do you have any hunting skills?
The tracks go off in this direction.
That direction.
Today he does.
Clue.
I'm good at this. I watched Sherlock Holmes the other day. Bam. Success.
You do have your own mini library of books.
Yeah, exactly, Mundo. So what do I see? I made my hunting roll.
All right, so yeah, if you were making a guess based on this, hold on, let me pull up the map again. It definitely looks like they were heading west, right? From again, like from the little you can see, right? The tracks kind of come down. You're on a little bit of grass that then leads to a street, right? But it does look like they were heading in this direction. Now, whether that's northwest or southwest is to be determined, but it looks like they were heading, west in some direction, some form of west.
So which direction did we send the mug on the bike in?
So
This bridge?
so Mark was going south, right? Mark was heading down this way to there, and then he was going to come back on this. So again, like he's heading south. Your best gut from what you can see from like 10 foot of greenery, they were heading west.
Elementary, my dear Watson. The game is afoot in the west. Where's Sven?
Sven, where are you?
I'm at the hotel.
Are you still there, Sven? Like this is probably, again, depending on what you were going to do, right? It was a block and a half or so. So it was like a 2 or 3 minute walk back to the hotel. And I'm going to say that, Lance and Teach have spent maybe 10, 15 minutes or so, right? So at this house. So depending on what you were doing at the hotel, you could well be back with the group now, even though the mother keeps pointing fingers at you and giving you dirty looks.
Oh, no, I was probably going to create some space, so I was going to check out on my way to the hotel to do the same thing that Teach and Lance are doing. I was checking to make sure boats were still there, and then I was going to investigate the hotel room they were lodged up in.
Okay. So let's break over to you for a bit. So like the boats all look to be in place, right? You don't see anything that's obviously out of order. What are you looking for in the room?
More or less the same thing, just making sure that it seemed like it actually got lived in for the night, or if the bed's still made and they just snuck out the window, just rudimentary things like that.
Yeah, let's have you make a perception check. Oh, hold on, let me move back. Between sessions, I will add you all to all the different maps. I will set this up properly for next week.
Oh, no, we're going to fix that. Hang on.
Okay, so what did you do there to fix that? Did you just re-roll one of the dice, or did you roll again?
I'll use an insight dice, yep.
Okay, beautiful. So you see, again, this was a hotel. You see one of the Gideon Bibles from the hotel, and it appears like it's on. So the room looks lived in enough, right? The bed looks slept in, and it's kind of weird because the Gideon Bible is on the bedside table, but around it on the floor, it looks like a couple of the pages have been pulled out.
Okay. Well, that's about the only clue I've got.
Yeah.
You don't really
So they
like
stayed in
Sherlock
there.
Holmes.
Yeah. So they definitely stayed in the room and just left at some point.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Again, the bed, whether or not they slept in it, you've got no way of knowing. But, the bed, no one's been here, right? So the bed was made when you showed them to the room because it was made the last time a chambermaid went in there. And you can see that it's been laid in, right? And there's like mud, like they obviously didn't take off their shoes when they got into the bed. But
Sure.
so whether they slept, you don't know. But someone was definitely in it.
Okay. So they just waited and probably left. All right, then if there's not really much to glean from that, I'll probably walk my way back to wherever the group was meeting up, and I guess I'll eventually find my way to either Rachel's house or that's probably about the only other thing I can think of. Maybe waiting for Marco to come around.
Yeah, so as you get back, it's the finishing of like that. You turn up at the house just around the time the teachers realized or started saying, "Hey, I think they headed west."
I also have a deer stalker on my head.
You have a what on your head?
A deer stalker.
Oh my goodness.
A big curly.
All right, what do you guys
Solving
want to
some
do?
mysteries, are we?
Yeah. Elementary.
So what you guys find out at the house?
Was there only one set of footprints going west, or were there multiple?
No, multiple. It looked
Okay.
like at least 2, but it could have been as many as 4.
And can I tell, if I went down to the bottom of it, could I tell whether one person went up into the room? Because there would be, if they were dirty and they didn't clean themselves and they left dirt everywhere before, is there dirt at the bottom where they've shimmied up? Because someone climbing down wouldn't have to do that, wouldn't they? In other
Wait,
words, did they
rephrase that. What are you asking me, Matt?
I'm trying to figure out whether someone went up there and took her or whether she came down voluntarily. So if she just put her head out and then jumped out the window, there would be just some 2 big imprints in the ground and then they all walked off. Or did it look like somebody's climbed the wall?
You can't really tell whether or not someone climbed the wall, but you can tell by all the footprints and stuff at the bottom that it looked like, again, like it looks like someone climbed down, but you can't see anything on the wall that would suggest they climbed up.
I'm going to bring them.
Now, you said...
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm going to bring the mother over and start explaining it to her, just in case it jogs any memories. Okay. I know she doesn't want to hear it, but it doesn't look like people have gone up. It looked like she's come down.
So the mother's kind of freaked out. She says, "So what are you saying? Someone took her?"
Well, no, the opposite. It looks like she came down to them rather than they went up and took her. Can you think of anyone that, has she said anything about going anywhere else or trying to find anybody? Or
she looks at you like you're a little bit crazy, right? And she says, now that Sven is back over, she looks at like Sven and then looks back to you and says, I feel like the 2 of you are colluding. Like last night, some strangers turn up. This morning, my daughter's gone. And now you're trying to suggest she's run off with some kind of high school sweetheart. Like how much of a leap of reality do you have to make, right? So she doesn't seem to have any. She doesn't really care about the footprints, what you're trying to show her. That just to her suggests these people went up, like climbed the wall, grabbed her daughter out of the room, and like pulled her out of there. Like that's all these footprints seem to suggest to her.
I feel like I would have been keeping an eye on them at the party last night, and if I recall, they were pretty much just gorging on food and not really making a whole lot of interactions with other people, were they? Other than anybody who walked up to them?
I mean, they were friendly enough, right? But they also, they didn't seem to have a lot to say for themselves, right? So it wasn't like they were going around introducing each other. They just seemed very grateful for the food. But you did see them talking to Rachel and her daughter, right? Or they were at least around that same area. Like if we go back to the park,
right.
They were all at the same table at one point, right? So, somewhere over here, at some point you saw, if you can see that on the map where I'm pinging,
yep.
Somewhere over here, at some point you saw Dolce and Jace talking to Rachel and her daughter. So, yeah, it wasn't out of the realm of possibility, or at least that she seemed to have some kind of interaction with them.
Did we all see that, or just Sven?
You would have all seen it, right? They weren't hiding it. There was nothing, again, weird about it per se. So, yeah, you would have all seen it.
I'm probably going to motion Teach over, and because I'm sure I'm overhearing this conversation, and I'm just going to kind of tell him that she sounds like she's pretty hysterical, and it doesn't sound like anything's going to change her mind. But I think he's got something, and maybe we might need to loop around the opposite way we sent Marcos and follow the tracks that he found.
I'm going to take Sven aside a bit, given he's just said that to me, and I'm just going to say, are we sure if she was talking to them last night, she doesn't somehow know that they took her? She seems hell-bent on knowing that it was them rather than, taking anything, listening to any reason.
Right. Well, because if she's always by her side, that's what I'm thinking. Like the teenager, and did we say how old or how young the couple looked?
Yeah, 22 to 25, 27, something like that. Kind of like early 20s, not
Okay.
kids, but also not particularly old.
I would say there's a chance that if being cooped up over the last year and then finally stretching her legs, that maybe she feels a little smothered and got convinced to do a little adventuring.
So who are you saying that to, Sven? Are you saying that to the mother?
Oh, to teach, because
Just to
the mom's already pissed at me, and nothing I say is
Yeah.
going to help, especially if teach
Yeah.
isn't helping.
So,
Being the adventurous type myself.
If that's the case, though, then they'd get out of here as soon as possible and as quick as possible in one direction, which would... It's likely to be north, isn't it? Because they came from the south. They said they were going north. So if we are looking for them and we're looking to get them back, then there's only one there's only the one bridge, probably. If we can
And if
gun
that's
it.
the rate, then yeah, I might as well just hop on the boat and just sail across the bridge and see if we see anything along the coast or whatnot. So we can hop in my boat. We can go check out. Did you say north, or are you saying just straight this way?
I was thinking this. Oops.
Well, not to be grim, but we should check the water anyway.
Yeah.
Like you said, the inner Luther has really been coming out. I've very much appreciated seeing this.
I was thinking.
Yeah, I
this
would offer
way.
to teach to go for a ride.
Do you have a motor on the boat?
I'd assume so.
Yeah, it's a fishing boat, right? Hey, so what kind of boat is it? Is it a trawler or is it like a little speedboat? Like what kind of boat did you have?
Speedboat, double motor.
It's a warship.
I have no idea what a Yamaha 530 is.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think the description I gave last time was like Jenny from Forrest Gump, his little shrimping boat, something like that. So it's sizable, it can manage doing some stuff, but it ain't no commercial thing.
Yeah, but it's probably going to be. You can probably. I mean, it's going to be quick enough that you could probably do like a lap, or not a lap, but kind of go around the outside and get a pretty good perspective, right?
Yeah, I figure if there's any working vehicles, it might be more convenient to haul ass up this way and then circle around and come back versus having to double back every time we want to go across the bridge.
Yeah.
If there was working vehicles.
So people are starting to break away, right? So the mother's kind of lost interest in talking to you guys about, especially about maybe your daughter ran away with like a stranger or whatever. So people have started breaking up into search parties. So I don't know if Maria is still napping back at her house and completely disinterested in what's going on with the neighbors. But the three of you all heading to Sven's boat. Some of you breaking off. What are you doing?
Me?
Oh no, all of you,
Oh.
the whole group. I wasn't picking on you, but the whole group.
Well, you mentioned Westish, so I think I should check Westish. There's a group heading that way.
So I guess the question is: are you going with Sven in his boat, or are you going are you going by yourself, or are you going with him? What are you doing?
Well, is anybody still with me? I don't know. I think they've.
Well, I could suggest if you're going to go out there, you could go that way to head us off because we'll be going north first, and then we could always pick you up on the way back.
All right.
Circle around and get you.
Have you
I'll
got
do
a
that.
vehicle? Because you're going to need to run, or you're going to need to move at least twice as fast as them to catch up a few hours.
Oh, true, yeah.
Well, if
Make
you
a
have a vehicle that
scavenging
makes
roll.
noise, that they might hear it coming. So I don't know if that's, it's a gamble, right?
Well, not as much as a gamble of you running at the same speed as they're running. I never catch on the map.
Go get your hoverboard, Marty.
Yeah.
Yeah, where's my secret dirt bike at?
A bicycle. That's what you're looking for. A
Oh.
quiet
Yeah, so-
bicycle without a bell.
Make a scavenging roll +2.
All right.
Oh, map.
Oh, crap. Crap map.
And it's going to be a pink Barbie one like Daryl found his backpack.
Holy cow.
Don't be judgmental.
No, that's super fast. Stick a playing card in the wheel as well.
I find a chopper bicycle.
Wait, did you? Sorry, I was adding you to the other map screen. Were you successful there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, you found actually a really nice one, right? And it does have a bell, right? And you could even put someone on the back of that bike if you wanted to. It has like a little shopping rack, which can probably support like a full-sized adult. So that was a really good little find.
No,
Right,
I
that's
gotcha.
where the water goes.
I gotcha. We'll throw all these references, as many as I can find in chat.
Unfortunately, I can't see them because I still can't get Discord.
Oh,
to
okay,
load.
sure, on Discord. Damn it!
I will see them
It's
later
just
on my
Rolden on a
phone.
bike.
Oh, it was. I thought it was working for a second there. All right, so I've now added you to. Let me go back to this screen, so you can make dice rolls from this screen. So, Lance, you have a bike. So, did you say you're riding west?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you ping the map and show me kind of where you're heading?
I have no map to ping. It's all, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm just going to assume if you can see the Twitch stream, I'm going to assume you're just kind of heading in this direction, correct?
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. Now, just as a reminder, you guys sent Mark down on his bike down this way. So, Lance, you kind of know in your head that at some point, if you keep heading down here, by the time you get to here, you think Mark will have probably done like this whole journey from there to there to there, right? So you kind of, you think you'll have a pretty good understanding of what he's seen and what you'll have seen by the time you get down there, okay?
Yeah.
Sven, what are you and Teach doing? Like, plot out your course for me.
Well, since this is kind of off the map, it's not really much, but I suppose we were going to go up across the bridge and, well, probably a little bit at a distance to see if we can see anybody hoofing it. And then once we get across, kind of scan the coast a little bit. And then circle back counterclockwise to down here, where they had mentioned that they were headed when we met them last night.
So as you're coming up here, let's have, and presumably you and Teach, and it's funny, I just looked up Jenny, right? I mean, it's just perfect. Like the Forrest Gump boat is perfect for my imagination for what this looks like. So, you're in kind of like your little skipper area and you're shouting out to Teach. So if you two want to make a group check, a group perception check and see whether or not you see anyone kind of moving as you're approaching this bridge, like if you see any signs of life.
Okay.
I'm going to use a inside dice. This is a perception check, yeah?
Yeah, but a group one.
Oh, sorry. Can't do that. No.
Well, actually, if it's better, then we can just do them individually.
No. No, because it's... So, I've clicked my group check. So, click your group check.
Yeah. I did.
Okay.
I already got the thing in here. I don't have a prompt for it, but I got the thing.
Should work.
I have no perception anyway, so.
Where's perception? Yeah, got it.
Far right.
Let me. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's engaging. Oh yeah, it is.
There you go.
Okay.
Roll. Wow.
God, you guys suck together. So you're not sure. You're not sure whether or not it's kind of like the gloomy morning. You're not really sure whether it's like you didn't eat enough carrots as a kid or what. And it could be there's even people on the bridge and you just can't see them. But as you're kind of like cycling underneath, it all looks clear to you, right? So you're kind of like coming up this direction in the boat. You get underneath, you can't really see anyone, right? So it could be maybe if you went further north where this hits the land, maybe you'll find someone. But your gut is that there's no one to be seen.
Alrighty. Keep on a moving.
And can you ping on the map and show me which direction you're heading in?
Working it back towards this way to kind of spy this coast.
Okay. Perfect. So let's break up. So Mark, excuse me, Lance, by the time they start heading around here, you kind of meet up with Mark at this area. So let's have you make a perception check as well.
All right. Oh. Do I have a
Same thing for
dice?
you. Yeah, it's one of those overcast mornings. You're just not sure that you can really see anything, right? So you ask Mark. Mark says he's not sure, right? He doesn't think he saw anyone. Like he asked a bunch of people, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary. So again, you two are kind of here on the kind of the corner, and it's a little bit foggy. It's a little bit of a foggy morning, so you're really not sure what to do next. Like, which way do you want to go? Or what are you going to do?
Maybe backtrack a little bit if I've explored everything else, and I guess nobody of the other search parties are no luck.
Well, nobody has any walkie-talkies, right? So it's not like you've got any way of knowing, right? So the best you'd be hoping for is that someone would be whooping and a hollering because they'd found Janice, right? But you've heard no whooping and a hollering. So as
No
far as you know,
smoke
no
signals?
luck on the search parties.
I guess I'll try exploring a little more, areas that I haven't hit yet. Up and down the coast, maybe around the bridge.
All right, so while you're doing that, you can hear kind of like the pop, 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 pop as their kind of like boat is starting to come around here, right? So, Sven, like, I'm presuming you're doing kind of like a fairly you pinged up here, right? But you don't think they'd really have had time to have gotten that far, right? So I'm guessing you'd have kind of like kept close-ish to the land and come around the bridge. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not that far. I mean, I don't really have a huge sense of scale here, but yeah,
Sure.
Somewhere we can catch at least coming into as far inland as I can see on the bridge, and then
Okay.
swooping around.
All right, let's have you both make another a group perception check. And actually have a +1 C mod because it's starting to get a little bit later in the morning, so you're starting to get some better sunlight.
I got mic checked.
You click it this time.
Do I just do perception and that's what I do?
Yep. As long as you got your group check.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
And then pop in the... Bam!
Yay!
Wild success.
Oh.
Cleared away
So
the
you-
soot from Jenny. Now we can see
She's
what's going
dead,
on.
Jim.
Nice. So you can very clearly see, and I'm glad that worked out because I don't feel like you guys have been having a lot of luck. You can very clearly see what looks like 3 people kind of heading towards the edge of the bridge, right? And you're still far enough back, kind of like heading towards them. You don't think they've noticed you yet, right? But again, you can see these 3 people that are kind of moving on down the bridge, down in this direction.
Are they silhouettes or are they... Can we see details?
With the wild success, you can see details. You can see enough to recognize the yes, shoot them. Thank you, Zero. You can recognize enough to you'd be willing to take a bet that these are the two people that you'd seen the night before. Not really sure about Janice, but it looks like there's two adults and a young girl, so it looks like a fair bet, you know?
More importantly, does she look like she's with them under duress? Are they pushing her along, or is, you know?
They're just walking.
You're too far out to see that at this point.
Oh, details, schmeetails.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell Teach to go through the emergency bag that's probably on my boat and grab a flare gun and set it off towards the town.
No, I'm not doing
In the
that.
sky.
'Cause then we'll tell them that. Then they'll run for it, won't they?
Oh, I mean, they're gonna hear the boat.
So, if you had to make a guess based on your experience with this boat, Sven, they're probably around here, right? And you think you could probably like full whack on the boat, right? You think you could probably cut them off, right? So essentially, I don't want to say trapping them on the bridge, but their choice would be to deal with you at the end of the bridge or to head back towards the town, right? So whether or not, I mean, you have a flare in the emergency kit in your bag, so you could absolutely fire it off. But just to kind of point it out, I think you'd be able to cut them off so they couldn't get off the bridge without dealing with you if you would like go full whack on your boat.
I explain all that to Teach and ask him again if he wants to shoot the flare off or not.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now that you put it that way, how about we get halfway first and then
Deal.
fire it off? Otherwise, no.
Give us as much time before we're noticed.
If they pick up their pace and run, Tony, are they going to outrun us to the other end?
No. I mean, it might come down to a close run thing, but that bridge is pretty long, right? And so, you'd be able to get there almost no matter what, unless they suddenly develop like skateboards or bicycles. Then you're guaranteed to get there first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's get Jenny moving and flare gun. I'll take the flare gun.
What is? We don't need to decide it now, Sven, but we do need to come up with a name for your boat.
I feel like I did drop one, but I don't remember what it was, so we'll do.
Okay, thank you. All right, so Teach, there is a second flare in the. So you fired off a flare back towards the island, right? So Lance, you and Mark are just kind of looking around, like you said, you were starting to explore other areas, and you see that flare coming out from a boat in the ground. So you're pretty sure that that's Sven, and the flare did his job. You're pretty sure he's found them. What do you? Mark does a whole kind of like there flare. So he's kind of like leading you towards it, right? So what are you planning on doing, Lance?
So I guess I'm not noticing them with the boat and all that.
Well, yeah, Mark just pointed out like the flare. I mean, you can see the boat where the flare came from, right? Mark was pointed out in case you hadn't noticed it.
Well, I make a beeline there.
Beautiful. So you're coming down almost like reinforcements. And Mark's with you, by the way, but on your bikes. Maria, what are you doing?
Sorry about that. I'm just hanging back just in case if anybody needs me, and I'm just making sure that my stuff's okay. So,
She fell asleep.
I feel like you're tending a vegetable garden and you don't want anyone to know about your fresh produce. I feel like that's
know?
I just know you so well, Maria. I just knew that was what was going on. Like you've got some honestly some beets that are coming up from under the ground, and like
yes,
you're
and I don't want anyone near those.
Some people are just so greedy when it comes to their beets. All right, beautiful. So, Teach, you have a second flare just in case you want to try and shoot these people on the bridge. I'm not saying you should. I'm just letting you know that you have an extra flare in case you wanted to do that.
Light them up.
I'm not entirely sure. Well, I'll wait a little before I shoot it, because if they didn't see the other one, then firing it too quickly would be bad. as we're going
Yeah, I
over
wasn't
there,
actually suggesting it would be terrible. It would be really terrible if you set fire to this 14-year-old girl when you're trying to rescue her. So I felt the need to jump in because I really wasn't suggesting that, even for a second.
No, I reckon Mum will do that when she gets back. The Can we, as we're going and they're going across here, can we see anyone getting to this end of the bridge?
You can see Mark and Lance just starting to cross the end of the bridge. And if you had better binoculars, you'd be able to see Maria tending her yard all the way back in town. But no, you can see Mark and Lance starting to ride across the bike. And you can hear Lance's bike, actually, because it does have that playing card in the spoke. So he is doing a whole as he runs forward. Yep.
Okay. Right. We'll just park up. I'll make sure that they can. I'll make a big thing of having my shotgun with me as we're going. So hopefully they decide that they might turn around because they were over halfway. Yeah.
Correct. They were very close to the end of it. So, like you said, were you going to make it there first? Yeah, you did, but it was a very close thing,
Right. Lance, do you know that? Sorry, not Lance. Sven, do you know this area at all? Anywhere where we could run off? Anywhere where we could
I
set
assume
up?
I would. Yeah, I actually should have some local knowledge.
Where's good
What
for
would be
us
the best?
to, hide and be able to get?
That place right there.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So, you can, it's taking a bit of a chance, but I'm pointing at the wrong map. You know this area well enough that you could actually come in here and park your boat up right there, right? And kind of like make a run onto the highway and try and grab them. Now, the other alternative is to come in this little pocket of water there. But the end result is that you know enough to be able to try and like cut them off at the pass, or you could just come in and directly tackle them. What do you feel like doing?
I was thinking more, is there a place where they're out in the open that we can just stand behind something and they're toast?
Oh, for sure.
problem
So
is-
if you were to just park up the boat, there's enough places here and you've got enough of a head start where you could get in and there's like a bridge pillar or something. You know what I mean? Like a suspension pillar or something. So, yeah. And I don't know if a flare gun is going to require cover to be effective when you shoot at them with it. But, yeah, you can find somewhere to get into cover at the top of the bridge.
I've got a shotgun. I'm not shooting flares at people.
Yeah, but flares are much more fun.
I'm going to throw the flare overboard in a minute. I'm putting the flare in the stowaway compartment of Jenny so that Sven has something for when he's in emergency danger next time.
Put the flare down. I totally understand.
I'm going to shout onto the bridge. The girl's name.
Janice.
Yeah. Actually, no. I'll shout at the big fella.
Dolce.
And
Jace.
yeah,
Sorry.
and shout what's going on.
So
Mum's looking for Janice.
So
Janice. Sorry.
You can see at this point that he's the Jace, the guy, is like heading towards you, but it's actually the woman Dulcie that's got a hold of this little girl, right, and is dragging her forward. So as they're coming towards you, this guy's got like a hunting knife or a machete. You're not exactly sure what it is, but he's walking towards you and he's kind of pointing at you and making threats as he comes towards you. The Dolce, the woman, seems to be trying to get, and again, like randomly generated names. I should come up with a better name before I'm saying something that sounds so weird. So Dolce or Diana, this woman that's kidnapped the girl, she looks like she's trying to put, like she wants to sneak by you by getting this guy Jace in between like the two of you. Do you know what I mean? Like she's trying to like sneak behind him while he's walking towards you and holding out his knife.
So is she right behind him?
Yeah, like a little bit behind him, like a couple of steps, right? So it's not very far. It's not like 20 foot. But again, like he's trying to create enough of a distraction and keep you guys busy so that she can get off the bridge with this girl.
Do you have guns, Sven, or anything?
At this point, I've got my bow out.
Okay, I'm gonna walk at
I'm
right
ready.
angles. I'll walk at right angles to them so that we're split up, and I'm going to tell them they've got two choices. They can leave the kid and F off because I can't be bothered to waste ammunition on them, or they can keep the kid. I'll kill both of them and return with the kid.
And this is the amicable school teacher that you're playing at the moment, right?
No, this is the protective guy that is my motivation.
Like that about you. All right, beautiful. So the guy is just shouting a lot of stuff at you, right? And it seems to be, from not that you're particularly listening and taking it in, but it seems to be like hyper religious, right? The things he's throwing out. He's talking about our father this and protections that and seed of the devil, and he seems to feel that he's some kind of noble religious protector, and that you might be a personification of the devil. And frankly, if it had seen you running around earlier with no pants on and a shotgun, that would have probably really solidified that in his mind, right? And so, again, as he's coming towards you, whatever you're doing, like threatening him or whatever, he doesn't seem to be listening. He's walking towards you again, like still very, very, very aggressive with the knife and shouting all this religious stuff at you.
Okay, I'm walking sideways so that the woman isn't behind her and she can't put the girl in the way. And Sven, unless you're going to do anything first.
No, I'm just going to make a comment. I think he's more hysterical than the mother was.
I'm going to say, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. And I'll move off at a tangent so that I don't have the girl in the shot anymore, and I'm just gonna pull the trigger.
You're gonna shoot him?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to initiative. But you're getting the drop, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember that rule, but you get like one free action, and then next round you get a -3 on your initiative. So he's 10, 15 foot away from you, and you get a single action, right? So is that action to attack him, or what are you doing?
Do I only get one action? Because yeah, I assumed I'd be walking sideways to pointing my gun and aiming, telling him, "Oh, you're out of line," blah blah blah, giving him the choice, and then if he doesn't, I'm pulling the trigger.
Okay, I'd give you the normal aiming for that, right? So the getting the drop is really more about the initiative in the next round, right? This is just one free action before we get into combat. But I would agree, the way you're describing it, kind of like, like flanking him or kind of like circling him, like I think you'd also get that aim. So have a +2. And by the way, you're all on this map now, so you should be able to get into combat, I think. Oh, wait. No, Sven is on there. Okay.
My character is messed up.
Is it because we're not in combat?
No, it's because I created another one of me last week.
Oh.
And things went a little wrong. Okay, so let me just connect it back up. Okay, so ping. No, that's still not working.
What are you trying to do, Matt?
Aim and then shoot. Sven, can you aim? I don't have a gun either. That's the problem. My ready weapon.
Oh yeah, that might be useful.
Either.
Do you need me to provision you with one, or do you have one you just haven't readied it?
We literally tested this yesterday. Sven, can you do anything?
I
this
can't
map
ready
at all?
weapon either. No.
Right, hold on 1 second. Right. Ready weapon. There we go.
There you go, man.
And I will put myself on get drop as well, which will take 3 off my initiative for the next round. Aim. And attack. Our problem is that there's no map
Oh, do you
here
have the
to
grid?
tell the
Yeah.
range on this.
Should I switch to another? Let me put to another map.
Yeah, my pen.
Combat in the park.
Yeah. All right. So let me add the bad guys onto this map.
Oh, they are bad guys. See, now I don't feel bad about
Hey, they kidnapped a little girl. What do you think is happening here? What is the good version of this? Let me move some of
don't
these.
judge. I'm a teacher.
Like, I encourage all my students to get into the entrepreneurial trades.
Like kidnapping. Well, I know kidnapping is not very lucrative, but ransoming? Oh, man, ransoming, now that's a lucrative industry to be in.
There you go.
All right. There you go. All right. So basically, let's pretend from here to here and here to here, like that's the bridge, right? So I realized just as I was doing it, that made no sense to you. So, all right. So if you can see where Jace is walking at the moment, this is how they're going along the bridge. Oh, thank you for that. No, it's just straight. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful. So there's Dulcie and Janice. There's Jace who's walking towards Teach, if you don't mind me moving you. Teach, he's walking to you with his weapon out, so feel free to move wherever you want to go on that bridge.
So I needed to move over there, pointing at him, so I couldn't accidentally hit Janice.
Right, and I was probably on the opposite side.
Yeah, Lance, you're over the other side of the bridge. The far
Yeah,
end,
I got the jump on them. You guys didn't know.
Yeah. That teleportation you learned in the army was great.
So
Nice.
Oh, beautiful.
If I use the wrong thing.
His aura's not working now.
Yeah.
That must mean he's down.
He's down, but he's not out. He's hurt, but he's not completely done, right? So.
Did he make a panic roll?
No, but he should now. Do you have panic programmed in? Okay.
It's the only thing we haven't got, I think. No.
Okay, so. Hold on 1 second. Let me make a roll for him.
If I lose his mind, he actually gets scared straight, like in prison, and he stops speaking hereticals.
Who does that?
Yeah, so he actually he didn't panic. He got a success. He got a 10, so he didn't panic. All right, so you loaded ammo for that. All right, so let's go. Let me start combat.
How many shells does a shotgun have in its mag?
I think it's supposed to be 5 or 6.
Okay.
6.
Okay, so we'd been messing around testing, so just hit the reload button. So I only have 1 bullet loaded. Okay.
All right. So, excuse me. We're in combat. Lance, you're too far out of combat, so I'm just skipping you because you're at best case you'll come up at the end of this round on your bike.
All right.
So yeah, exactly. You'll all hear him coming. So Janice is she's a kid, right? She's 14, so she's screaming and trying to pull away from Dulcie. That's the entirety of her action is moving. Sven, over to you.
Okay, so when we were testing this yesterday, I was going to make the rationalization that with the compound bow, because we were talking about reloading magazines, I only have a magazine of 1, and that the only reason I would reload it would be to shoot it.
Yeah.
So just in case you think I'm clicking too many buttons. So I should already have the bow ready. I am going to let it fly at Mr. Jace here.
Do it. Get a +1 C mod because he's staggering around, right? Like, and Teach really caught him off balance there. Wow.
Did you shoot a seagull again?
Wow. Yeah. And I guess for my second action, I'll follow up that shot again. Should have aimed.
Back on shit.
Yeah.
So, and this is where I think this is where, like, again, your comment about the reload. I think reload on a bow does take an action.
Okay.
Simply because it's certainly when I've only like fired an arrow, like a bow and arrow twice, right? But like both, there was like a fair amount of kind of like prep for it, more than just like cocking a pistol and firing again, you know?
Okay.
However,
So I am reloaded.
I think it should be. I actually think that doing that it's probably a reload with a +1 aim, right? Just because as you're doing it and kind of getting them into sight, it's almost like you're as you're drawing that arrow, you're doing an aim on them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting thought.
You make a note of that. Before
And now my new favorite weapon.
What was that?
All right. So, well, I was saying that I think you have to reload a compound bow or any bow between shots, right? Because it takes it much more than just cocking a pistol and firing again. But what I said was, I think that I think you can make a case for like reloading a bow it gives you a +1 aim, right? Because as you're kind of cocking, you're kind of like getting the sight on them. So you have to use one of your actions as a reload, but it's also a reload with a minor aim on it. Make sense?
Right.
Said right. That didn't. I'm not sure that makes sense.
No, I was just thinking of the implications of that and building it in. So that's fine.
To be discussed.
Cool.
So yeah, my second action will just be to get another arrow knocked.
Okay, so you're ready for the next round, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
Me.
yours. Teach, what are you doing?
Since there's a dead seagull on the platform, I might just
On dinner.
Yeah. I might just. What's Dolce got? Has she got anything with her or?
Yeah, like as you're closer, you can see she's got a hatchet, right? And that makes her look just even more insane, right? Because she's pulling this girl along behind her, and she screams when Jace gets shot, but she's got a hatchet, so she's kind of like between pointing at you and threatening the girl. Like she just looks like a fucking crazy person.
Can I try intimidation on Dolce, given that I've just blown away the guy?
Yeah, 100%.
And try
he's
and
not
say,
dead. He's staggering around. Like, I mean, and he's staggering around, so he's still a threat, right? And he's still kind of moving. But yeah, like you can absolutely try an intimidation on Dolce.
I'll try that, and then I'll leave my second action to see what their reaction is. So each skills. Any bonus
Yeah, a
Intimidation?
-1, because she's pretty. She's not even listening as you're like she's screaming and shouting and walking towards you like after you've just shot her boyfriend. So it doesn't look like she's in a particularly good listening frame of mind. You know.
Okay, let's case.
Yeah.
Using an
Shut some sense
interface.
into him. Nail some sense into him, Sven. Nail him up.
-1.
Oh Christ.
Get that, don't you?
Yeah. It has the desired effect on her, but like it's not good, right? Like I mean, you've intimidated her, but you've really broken her, right? So she's so scared of you, she grabs like Janice and pulls her in front of her. So she's gone from dragging Janice along to suddenly like she's holding the hatchet against Janice's throat. So your intimidation has worked, and it's worked really well. But it's kind of snapped Dolce's mind, right? Like, so she's so scared of you. This intimidation was so extreme that she now sees you as the Antichrist.
Yeah, I'll defer my second action.
Okay.
Intimidate her to calm down.
Hold on, sorry, I moved them too far. All right, so Dulce, she's really freaked out by you, right? So she's actually going to use her actions to try and not exactly negotiate, right? But she's trying to she's using her action. I guess it is maybe a negotiation. She starts screaming at you. If you want this little girl, you let me and him go, and you can have this little girl. We don't care. We were trying to take her as a gift. She's not worth all this bloodshed. So she's looking at you to see if you're even like will consider negotiating, because she no longer wants to kidnap this little girl.
A gift for who?
I'll lower my gun and say, jog on.
What like so she looks at you confused, right? And so like
I'll point my gun at her and tell her to, with the gun, pointing her past us, to go past us.
Okay.
But the gun
So
stays there.
unless you change your mind, she just like walks away from this little girl, and this is exactly when Lance pulls up. So the bikes on his chopper are screeching as he pulls in, but Dolce grabs Jace, and they just start moving out, right? So somehow I managed to move in the wrong way. So unless you stop them, like she's got him, and he's staggering around because he's got like a big hole in his side missing, and she's kind of like helping him. But they're moving across the bridge and kind of away from you guys.
I shout to Lance, take Janice away. And I tell Sven, you got Jace.
Yeah.
All right, so
does that answer that?
it does. We're into the next round, and actually, I don't know why that just went down. Lance, I think I fucked something over there because it evidently went to a new round. Lance, you're actually up first, so over to you.
All right. Yeah. So if she's just standing there, I'll just grab her arm and slowly lead her away. Not harsh.
She doesn't.
Is she like in shock or something?
Yeah, she doesn't remember who you are, right? Like she doesn't know you, so she's kind of freaked out because suddenly, she's on this bridge with these people, and there's gunfire and stuff going off. So she starts saying to you, "Do you know where my mum is? I just want to get back to my mum. Do you know where she is?"
Yes, I'll take you there.
Okay. So she's willing to follow you because again, behind her is death and bloodshed. So she's willing to exit stage right with you. So that's that done. Jace is going to defer his actions because he's kind of looking over his shoulder and not sure if you guys have seriously just let him go or not. So he's kind of like, again, reserving his action. So Sven, over to you.
Yeah, and I just reaffirm that doubt. And
Nice. Okay, so you meant okay, lovely. So Jace is down. Dulcie screams, and she's going to try and make a break for it. So let me figure out how that would work. So she's going to sprint, right? And so that doesn't mean she's going to get away from you, but she is going to use both of her actions to make us to take a sprint or to sprint. So let me just run that and see what happens. Oh, hold on.
You have the group check box too.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So, all right. So she's. Can you see that? You can see the GM rolls, right, Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't have GM on, so everyone sees.
no,
it.
I do. I can see the GM next to it, but you're a GM, so you must be able to see it. I see Tony Zero GM.
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
yellow.
can
It
see
doesn't
it
have yellow
too.
behind it, so you don't have the GM.
No, we just see the condition.
Yeah, we don't see
Okay.
the. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Oh,
We
you didn't
just
see the
blended.
actual roll. You just see.
No.
No,
Well,
not
you
the
can-
roll.
Yeah, you can see that because, like, as soon as she starts running away, she's not in good shape, right? And she's so freaked out by the fact that, like, her boyfriend just got an arrow through the side of his head. So she starts running and screaming, but she's already out of breath before she even gets to the edge of the map. So Janice is gone. So Teach, over to you.
Do I know the girl, Janice? Like, would she have been in one of my classes? It's a small town, yeah.
Yeah, she would have been. Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does know who you are.
I'm not really one for running, I don't think. So I'm gonna up here, start to calm Janice down as fast as I can run, and tell
Roll
Lance.
intimidate.
Yeah, and tell Lance to get on his bike and stop the girl if she gets off after someone else to a group. Sounded like she was heading off to a group.
She was?
Yeah, no time to talk. Go over there and stop her from getting to a group.
That may have been the most Matt moment ever. No time to talk. Please go over and execute that girl.
No, it's teachers like fingers on lips. Shh. F off in that direction and make sure that she doesn't get going.
And execute that girl. Please execute her. That would be great. If you wouldn't
Cups his
mind.
hands over Janice's ears and
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Janice, do your 10 times table. Lance, go and
Take her
kill
out.
that girl.
Quiet time.
All right,
Let's
so-
go.
Put her out of
Teach,
her misery.
make an inspiration or some kind of check, like inspiration if you got it, but make some kind of manipulate or like an influence or sway check for Janice.
Is that me?
No, Teach.
For me. Well, I'll
Yeah.
try and charm her then. Well, I have intimidate. That's the only thing I've got for the kids. I came from the shittiest schools, so
It's
I'll
the
give it.
turn warning, right? So maybe you could apply that here, right? It's the finger, right?
Yeah.
That sounded wrong as well, right? But it's that kind of like, you listen to me, young lady. Still sounds wrong. All right, so make some
Oh,
kind of
fair,
check
yeah.
and see if you can convince her to follow along with whatever instructions you give to her.
Still failed it.
Oh, you failed. Okay, she's just in a dark place, right? So you'll be able to grab her arm and walk off with her if your plan is to escort her back to mother, but she's really not listening to you.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. All right, so that's you. Jace is dead. So next round, Lance, over to you, buddy.
I guess he's got the girl now.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
he's
I
got
guess
the
that's
little
fast.
girl. He's told you to go and stop Dolce, who tried to make a break for it, but she smoked too many Rothmans and she's already having she's out of breath already.
Well, if they're gone, I'm gonna let them go. I'm not gonna worry about them.
You're the most pacifistic bodyguard that I've ever met. Like let them go. What threat are they going to be?
Yeah.
What threat could an enemy that kidnapped a child from our camp? What threat could that possibly be? Yeah,
I taught him well.
Are
I
you
agree.
honestly not going in that direction to help Sven out?
Oh, well, yeah. If he's in trouble, yeah. Okay, I thought they were running away. I was just gonna let him run.
No, the guy's
they
dead.
Were.
Okay, yeah. Well, then, I guess, are they in pistol range?
No, but you have a bike.
A bike.
All right, I guess I'll ride up then. Ring, ring.
So you can move 6 of those boxes per action on a bike.
All right. If they give me a second, my stuff's still acting up a little bit.
No, but oh, do you want me to move you? I keep forgetting you're having another roll.
Yeah, go ahead if you can do it. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so I'm not sure if that brings you. Let's see if that brings you into range. I don't know if I can ready a weapon.
Yeah.
Oh well. So he may just be trying to do a drive-by kick in the butting or something. If he doesn't have a weapon, then I'm not sure how he's going to attack Dolce. But he could try and run her down and tackle her, grapple her.
Where's my gun? Don't I have a gun?
Yeah, you just need to ready it.
Okay.
Wait, I tried to ready it just now and it wouldn't. So maybe there it goes. Okay. So heavy pistol. All right. Do you want to take a shot at her? Let's see if you're in range.
Yeah, I'm in range.
That just crashed the API. Go again.
Nice.
Oh my goodness! Hold on. Some
That's
kind of
got-
bodyguard
does have the
you are.
load. Does have the load thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It doesn't. It does. All right, so it's loaded now. Let's try that again. Oh, you hit her?
He makes that shot.
Good call.
Yeah, so you clip her in the shoulder, and there's a ton more screaming from her, right? And she's now also shouting out like a bunch of religious, whatever you like, kind of just like hot nonsense, right? Kind of like the Lord will protect her, and you're going to go to hell, and like yada yada yada, right? All this kind of like crazy religious stuff that she's thrown out as she's running away from you.
Well, I got to put another bullet in her then, just to shut
That's
her
going to
up.
be next round. You got use one action to get closer. So now it's Sven's going to get a chance to shoot her.
+1, don't forget.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. She looks pretty. I'm trying to decide if I want to intimidate. I don't want to outright kill her, but I am going to take a shot at her.
Okay.
So
You don't want to,
reload
but you will.
I want to put her down, but not down.
And what was your goal there, Sven? It was to what are you looking to do with her?
I want to immobilize her because based on her shouting, some questions need to be asked.
Yeah. So she in addition to being winded, she moves a little bit. She's still limping to try and get away from you, but she really doesn't have any kind of any mobility power, right? So her action just kind of got eaten up by, again, being winded, but secondly, by being shot in the leg by you. So she, excuse me, gets to move 1 square.
Nice.
Jace is dead. All right, Teach, you're still with Janice. Are you heading back to the town, or what are you doing? You're seeing this kind of like drama unfolding. What is your plan?
I'm keeping Janice facing forwards and heading back to the town. Don't look, Janice. Everything will be all right. We'll get you to Mum soon.
You're a good man. All right, Lance, over to you. You now have two chances to shoot Dolce if you're looking to kill her.
All right, yep. Let's take a shot. Pew pew.
All right, let me roll that for you. And Sven, are you planning on trying to stop him, or are you just gonna let him kill her?
Well, he did just see me take a shot at her, and I would hope that it would make sense when I say don't kill her.
Oh, are you saying don't kill her?
Either that was the voice in your head, the voice of your conscience. It could be.
No, the voice in my head would never say that.
You clicked on ranged combat
Yeah.
instead of attack, Tony.
Oh,
Oh, I did. That was,
somebody did.
I'm not doing it for him.
Okay.
It was a good shot, though.
Yeah,
It was.
So you need to do attack. Are you aiming and attacking, or are you just attacking? Technically, that's an attacking roll that just scores.
So I mean, he hit, right? So he should just move to damage, right?
Okay.
Although, yeah, it doesn't matter. She doesn't have -3 modifiers. So all right, so
Mine
let's
still
roll.
hits, all right.
You did. Just looking up the damage for that weapon. I think
I'm
it's
gonna assume that she doesn't have enough health to survive.
It's
too much.
3 plus 1d6.
You're right. No, you're right. She's done. It's what is it, Matt?
3 plus 1d6. She's dead.
Yeah, so she's dead. She only had 2. So that shot, that a crack rings out in the early morning, and she flops lifelessly to the ground. So you see Jace in his kind of final throes, twitching around on the ground, and Dolce's down. So combat's done, and combat's a strong way of putting it. You just executed these 2 fools on the bridge.
So they're dead.
Dead. You could start. I mean, you could look. So they need to be stabilized. They're bleeding out. So if you want to go and stabilize them, have at it. But it will be an action. Be an active, engagement.
Yeah. Not Jace, because screw that guy. I didn't see one pop up for her, or
I don't know. Do it.
Because we didn't roll the damage, so she only had if you're looking to stabilize, I can add the damage to her. But
I can just do it to Jace if that matters.
Do it now.
Please.
Do it now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
So you'll have to roll it for him, Tony. Stabilize,
Okay.
and then
No
click
worries.
on Sven.
And I do have a first aid kit.
Yeah, failed. I'm sorry, I'm still in GM mode, so we can try it again next round. So you failed that, right? So we'd have to go to the next round. You already try it again. Are you saying anything or doing anything, or are you looking through her pockets or anything?
So if she's conscious while I'm trying to do this and kind of make it looks like I'm making an effort, even though she would literally watch me shoot her. I'm gonna ask her where she came from.
There's a lot of gibberish, right? So you can hear her. I mean, she's just throwing random stuff out, right? So she's talking about words that you don't understand, right? So the words that sound like they might be Hebrew or Greek or something, right? And she's talking about Father and Father Gillespie, and she's talking about how she'll be saved, how she's one of the children, how she's one of the special daughters, and nothing you can do. All this gibberish that in and of itself doesn't really make sense. But it's not completely random, right? There seems to be a coherency to the story she's saying, even though you don't understand any of it.
All right, then at this point, I'm half-assing to stabilize, because if she's still talking, who was the gift for? Or is it just going to keep rambling over and over again?
If you ask her that, she says the gift was for Father Gillespie. The gift she wanted to show him something nice, and she wanted to take him some of the treasures from the new town. So that's and again, it's in between a bunch of other babble, but that's what you think she's answering about why she'd kidnapped Janice.
And if I get one more question in before she passes, I'm gonna say, where can I find him? And I'm gonna sickeningly to myself to bring the gift myself.
So her eyes go wide, and she kind of looks up like she's looking up at something that's just over your shoulder. And she says, "Where do you think he is? He's the kingdom of heaven." And at that point, the light fades in her eyes, and she just flops to the ground. So she doesn't really give you a conclusive answer.
Shot. I'm gonna look at Lance and I'm gonna say, "Does that name ring a bell?"
Does it? I was just wondering if we knew a Gillespie.
So both of you make a local knowledge check.
No, I think I got a refresh roll 20.
I do or you do?
No, I do. Character sheet didn't want to load.
Ooh, no good.
Much better. All right. Local knowledge. Wow, it's like one of my better stats.
Welcome to the club. It's only Tony that rolls
You
higher.
had a
than
plus
anything.
4 on that too.
Yeah, I had a +4 on earlier as well. We're rolling terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I love that you've got the dice programmed in there so we can see unequivocally what's going on. That 2 + 1 didn't help, Sven.
Nope. It's a mystery. Name doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah. Nope.
Not
Doesn't
my
make-
church.
Well, what's OJ's got on him here? I'm searching him.
Really nothing. There's a half pack of cigarettes. He has this really big long knife. So if you want a hunting knife, then feel free to put that into your inventory. Other than that, there's a map, and it's a random McNally, right? So it's a map of this area. You know, it's funny because I'd already planned. I'd always planned on doing this in game. I don't know if I've ever shown you guys, but I have some random McNally maps of the areas that we're playing in. Because if we were doing this in person, you'd be able to like write on the map and use this as a frequent like whatever. So he has one of those in his pocket, right? But it's got some just random scribbles on it, right? And you know, it doesn't really seem to suggest or say anything on it, and you can't take it, you can't decipher anything from it. But it's got vaguely like religious symbols on it, right? There's like a bunch of crucifixes, there's a couple of like stars of David and other symbols that look, whether or not they are like the Ankh, like if you know what that is from like Egyptian, there's all these different religious symbols, but like nothing you can really take anything out of with this map.
What about those Bible pages?
Did anyone look at them?
Well, I didn't know.
Oh,
if
no, that was
they
back in the
had-
hotel.
You know, there were some pages missing. I didn't know if they have them on them.
At that rate, I'll go through her pockets and see if they're there.
So thank you, Lance, for noticing that. I couldn't believe that there was a Bible that had been ripped up in a room where two lunatics had been staying, and no one gave a shit. Like no one was even looking to see what was going on with those. So yeah, you do find a couple of Bible pages in her pockets, right? And so she's like has a crayon in there as well, and she's done a similar thing to Jace where she's been drawing on them, right? So they pulled out a couple of pages from the Bible, and it's almost at random, right? And so like crumpled up and got some stuff in there. So if you'd want to take that back and research that later, you could. But standing out here, like doesn't ring any bells. Doesn't really mean anything for you.
Yeah, I'll definitely since I searched the hotel and saw the ripped up book, I'll definitely take those pages with me.
Okay. All right, beautiful. So these two are dead, right? And again, like if anyone wants the hatchet she was carrying, or the half pack of cigarettes that he had, or the hunting knife stroke machete that he had, you can. But their clothes are pretty beat up, right? And there's really nothing on them that you'd want to take. And it's kind of still feels a little bit weird, kind of like robbing the dead, even if you just killed them. And this could, by the way, be your first kills, right? I'm not entirely sure about you, Lance, or you, Sven, but I'm neither of
It
you
might
will
be, unless I had to defend myself getting out west.
Yeah.
Which maybe I did. I make a good story.
So I'm gonna have everyone except for Maria, because you weren't present, but I'm gonna have the three of you add one to your breaking points. This was kind of brutal in its way, right? And it's caused all of you to kind of like reconsider where life is heading to at the moment.
I don't know what you guys are doing, but my bell peppers look great.
Oh, I'm so glad you're gardening. You're going to be breaking all gender stereotypes by having a nice dinner waiting for them when they get home. Super proud. And then you're going to poison them and take all their belongings. It's going to be awesome. All right, so let's get to a
fortune way.
As it should be, right? As a deserter from the army. Sorry, honorable discharge from the army. All right. So, what else are you doing? You're still on the bridge, even though you're in the town, obviously. So, Teach, you're heading back with the girl, right? With Janice. What Sven and Lance? What are you? You're on the beach. Oh, sorry, on the bridge at the moment. What is your plan to get back to the town? What are you doing next?
Well, I know I'm probably going to drag the bodies off the road, and then offer Lance if he wants to throw the bike in the boat and can take a ride back.
Sure. That's the easy way.
Teach would have looked over his shoulder every once in a while to make sure everything was tickety boo. When he notices that they're down, he would probably whistle to Sven and motion for them to chuck the bodies in the water away. We don't want them being found.
Yep. And again, I lost a sense of scale. So if he's gotten close enough, well, if he's coming back, I would wait for him to obviously get a boat ride. But
it's a minute or two, right? He was like, "You're so close, right?" I mean, this all took place with Janice and with Lance and Jason Dulcie in like a matter of minutes, right? So Teacher's really very, very close still. So you could come back to, again, great idea to throw the bodies off the side, but everyone could easily get back into your boat and head back to town.
Yeah. So we'll do that.
All right. Are you guys good to go for another like 15 to 30 minutes so we can wrap this up? Or can I put a bow on the boat here as you're heading back into town? What do you want to do?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay. So you head back, and I'm guessing, Sven, you're coming into, in fact, I'm just going to make an arbitrary decision. The area where you guys were fishing, this area, one of these is Jenny, right? I'll change the graphics, but I think this has become your personal kind of like port, right? And right next to this, just off to the side. Oh, I'm peeing on the wrong window. So just off to the side here is the Bowline Hotel, right? If you follow this path down, like for 3 minutes, you come to your house. So I feel this is now your kind of like your private dock. That work?
Sure.
Perfect. So you're coming here, and there's you can still hear the commotion in the town, right? Like the you can hear noises and voices and stuff, like people are still talking. So, this is where Janice's mother was, right? That's where you left us. So as soon as the boat is pulling into the dock, Janice is kind of chomping at the bit to get out, right? And actually, let me back up a little bit. Were you guys, and this is really more to you, Teach, than anyone, I guess, but like, was there any conversation with Janice as you were driving, as you were like boating back to the town? Like, are you asking her like what she was doing, or are you just letting her sit in silence with her thoughts? Like, what's going on there?
No, not really. I'd just be telling her that her mum's looking forward to seeing her again, and she'll be back soon. I might ask her, did they come and get her out of the window? Because that's a bit confusing.
Yeah, so she's willing to kind of like offer all of this up, right? Because she's still kind of freaked out. So they talked to her at the dinner last night, or the barbecue down at the party, the park, sorry. And they'd asked her where she lived, right? And she had told them, given them a kind of like a direction. Her and her mum had been heading back towards their house at roughly the time that you'd been going to the Bowline Hotel with them, taking them to their place. So they'd just sussed out where she was. She didn't tell them, and she didn't try and make a break with them, but she said she woke up and they were standing over the beds. They'd kind of, Jace had climbed up through the window, and he put his hand over her mouth and handed her off to Dolce and said to her they were going to kill her and her mum if she said anything. So it doesn't feel like she went of her own volition. And it feels like, he went up into the room and grabbed her and threatened to kill her mum if she didn't go along with him quietly. And she was 14 and unprepared for it. So she basically did what they said. So not a huge mystery there, right? She didn't go with them willingly. They kidnapped her.
Okay, I'll try and calm it down a bit then. And yeah, I guess that answers the question.
Roll intimidate.
Did they say anything about the did they ask anything or tell her anything about the group that they were where they were taking her? Don't make me intimidate you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Can you make a psychology check? And I'm going to give you a +1 because it's to do with kids, and you have that kind of like, that innate knowledge almost.
Yeah. Psychology -3.
Yeah, so that would be a 0. Like if I give you the +1, it effectively takes it out of that, right? So this would just be really an insight check, but it's more psychology and understanding how to work with kids. So make that to a 0 and then give yourself a +1.
So is the result of it +1, or is the result of it 0 because it cancels out the -3?
Well, so the result of it is actually +4, right? Because it's to get you to 0 and then a +1 C mod. Make sense?
Yeah.
Hold on. I thought you were on that map, but evidently not.
I'm on the wrong map.
Oh, I see the map we're on.
Yeah, cool. I'm back. Right. Cozy. Yep. As with every other roll, fail.
Yeah, you've been rolling like Munch this evening. I kind of miss Micah when I see rolls like this. Yeah, she didn't really seem to want to open up to you, right? And so she makes vague statements that are in line with everything you heard Jason Dolce say, right? She says all they told her was that she was going to be a gift for someone, right? And they kept on talking about their father, and she didn't know who their father was, but Dulcie had said she was going to be another special daughter for their father. So she doesn't really have anything to tell you or anything that really it gives you any greater clue about where they were taking her. It just kind of lines up with the kind of the gibberish you heard from Dulcie.
I'll make a note to just tell the mum, or ask the mum when she's calmed down and she's a bit more just in the everyday life, to maybe approach the subject again and see if she can find if she recalls anything else when we get back.
Okay, so when you get back, like, I mean, as Sven is mooring up in his private dock, like, I mean, she really just like jumps out of the boat, right? And she kind of runs off to where her house is, right? And so there's nothing really needed from you at this point, right? She kind of like runs away and she's all kind of happy, unless you try and stop her. More intimidation. Here we go.
Well, I was thinking more her safety and not falling flat on her face on the dock, but yeah.
You can help her out of the boat because you are that old fisherman or that grizzled hand. So you can absolutely help her out. She's able to get out of the boat without hurting herself.
I guess that's it. She runs off.
Yeah. So she kind of heads off towards where her mother was. And let me get back onto the map so you can see it. So somewhere kind of like starts heading off here. What are you guys going to do? Like, I'm assuming you're mooring up your boat at this point, but what are the rest of you plan on doing?
All in a day's work.
Bell peppers.
Says Bert.
Bell pepper. Hey, Bert.
I'll ask Sven if he needs a hand tying up or anything.
I'd say thanks normally, but you might be better off taking the girl back to the woman because she's probably not going to want to see my face.
Okey-dokey.
I know. I feel like my character needs a hobby or something. Like maybe I'll get into distilling or something.
Okay.
Given that there's Sven, one of the conditions that you're going to have to deal with is that you have almost no fuel left, right? That there's a diesel tank that's in the town, but like nothing's been getting refilled in forever, right? And pretty much all petrol or gas tanks were ran dry during the pandemic, right? While everyone tried to fill up their whatevers, right? And so yeah, a vodka recipe from the old country. But if you really want to get into distilling, Lance, then you might actually be able to make turn vehicles into running on ethanol or methanol.
Each, you got the book?
Sure. I can find you a book on that. Sure.
Many libraries in bigger cities got raided. Like during the pandemic, people took it, but this was a fairly small town, so the library here, no one ran in and took the stuff. So there's still all the books there if you need them.
All right, yeah. If I find some books there, that might be some stuff I could do.
Let's make a point of going back to the library at some point. All right. So as you guys are mooring, just finished tying off your boats and you're just saying goodbye to each other, and it looks like there's a budding friendship between Teach and Sven. Rachel comes over with Janice, right? And they got a couple of people behind them in the town, and she's just ecstatic, right? So she comes over and she says that Janice just like basically told her, you people, saved her from the clutches of death, right? Or pulled her out of these crazy people's hands. So, Sven, she's obviously softened towards you because she gives you all hugs and she's super grateful to you just because, like, she'd really, in this shitty world, she hadn't really expected anything good to happen. So she's extremely grateful to all of you for helping.
Well, I certainly appreciate the sentiment, but as a whole, I think the town, we might have a bigger problem to deal with.
So the guy that was standing there earlier, that kind of like interceded, right, or kind of got in the way. Do you remember, like, when you were, first of all, Sven, when you were talking to her this morning, the voice of reason, right? So he says to you, he looks at you and says, like, it's funny, I've been having those same thoughts myself. Like, let's talk about it this evening. Let's meet at McClure Park, which is where you guys have been like having your barbecues. He said, I think we need to talk about the safety of the town. So, everyone starts to dissipate unless you're actively trying to drag people into conversation. But, people will be gathering together that evening at McClure Park if you're interested.
For sure, yeah.
Can I find some, whilst they're all doing that, before that meeting, can I go into the library and find some prepping books or of that nature? So distilling for petrol and whatever else I can find prepping wise.
Yeah, so let's have you make a scavenge check with +2. And if anyone was going to help him, this would also be could be a group check if you were going to take like the afternoon and collectively go to the library and sift through some books, because there's no computer systems like telling you where anything is anymore,
I'll contribute the help for the Dewey Decimal System.
So, can you click your group check button for me?
Yeah. There we
Sven, what are you doing this afternoon? I've got a job for you.
Well, I guess I'm following along.
Just go to the library, guys.
Blip your group check for me then. I'd ask Maria.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm afraid to go anywhere near the
Bell peppers.
Yeah. She shot Dr. Dre for coming and stealing beats earlier. Okay, here we go.
I only just got that. Oh my god!
I've been waiting ages to do that. There you go. Double sixes.
There we go.
I can use the library.
Man,
Yeah.
we find the secret vault on Prepper.
You're welcome, everyone.
The janitor had a stash.
Can we just go back to Dr. Dre and the beats, because that was fucking awesome. So Matt, as a school teacher, that was that was awesome. So as a younger man, before getting into becoming a teacher, you thought about becoming a librarian, right? So those skills translated as you spent the afternoon kind of going through them. You dominated this library, like you bent this thing to your will, right? So meaning that you now automatically get a +2 to any research role, right? Like all the while that you're in the town and you have access to the library, if you want to try and figure anything out like this, how to turn the engine or whatever, you get an automatic +2 because of this wild success.
Boom.
Nice.
Okay. You got it. We got it.
I'm writing it down now so I don't forget it. Right. All right, beautiful. So you do find the book as well, right? So there's a book in there that talks about how to convert engines to run on ethanol and methanol. So you've got that in your possession now. So make a note of that on your character sheet so we don't forget you got that.
Cool. I'd like some fortification stuff as well for the town.
So that'll be that'll be a different role, right? So you went in there today to look for one thing, so you got it, but the wild success means that you figured out the cataloging system. But anything else would be a research role that you'd have to make to figure out whether they've got a book and whether you can learn enough on that subject. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you get +2 to any research role. All right. So what else are you guys going to do between then and kind of like sunset? Like you spent a few hours, like half a day. Actually, it's probably everything, right? Between getting Janice back in the morning and spending the afternoon in the library. Is there anything else you'd want to do before sunset and everyone gathering in the park?
Crack the book, take advantage of the light.
Beautiful. You're going to start doing research for your new hobby?
Sure.
So, and I'm making this up on the fly, like to learn it, I hadn't even thought about putting this in there. All right, so you're going to essentially be learning a new subject by doing this, right? So we're going to make a series of research roles over the next week while it takes you to digest this book, right? So do you currently have any vehicle, like do you have vehicle mechanic skill?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So hold on one second. So in after a week, you're going to be able to make a research role. And if you're successful in that research role, then you now have vehicle mechanics like level 0, right? Which is one of those like asterisk stars. So it's normally a -3. Okay. So this book, if you research it, and again, like on this one subject, converting an engine and 101 mechanics were right next to each other in the library. So if you spend a week and get the research role, you'll have that skill at level 0. That work?
Yeah. And what about actually making the alcohol specifically?
There's actually rules for that, right? So that would be assuming that you can get your head around this subject. There are rules in the core book about how long it will take and what you'd have to do in order to get there. So that would be in the next session, but it's already kind of codified in the rules how it would work.
We'll just get the ball rolling.
All right, beautiful. All right, so you're cracking that book open and you're starting to research. Anything else anyone wants to do before sunset? All right. Was that it, John? Was that were you thinking of something, or was that just you? Were you farting?
Just thinking. I'm thinking Sven's probably just decompressing from the day.
Yeah, he just killed a man. So I suspect that, unless again there's deep dark secrets we don't know about Sven, I imagine he's taking the afternoon to process a little bit. He's a fisherman. Who knows who he's killed before, right?
Yeah.
All right. He killed a seagull.
He did on his first attempt. On his first attempt, he did kill a seagull. All right, so in the town this evening, right? So, or in the town square. Am I on the right map, by the way? All right. So it's kind of a somber mood, right? And so there's a lot of people there, and like frankly, you guys are greeted like heroes, right? So as you come in, like there's a small round of applause for you, right? People are just like they recognize you all. You took lives today in protection of this town, right? And trying to get this girl back. So honestly, everyone with the possible exception of Maria, because she's a player character, everyone else is looking at you, probably Maria as well, but like everyone's looking at you like your heroes, right? And there's this kind of like slight applause as you all turn up. A little bit embarrassing. But, all anyone seems to be able to talk about is kind of the nervousness, right? And kind of like, what's gone on in the town, like over the last couple of days. And, as one of you's talking to old Tom McKenzie, he kind of makes a comment to you about how, like, this has really driven things home. Like, nobody's safe, right? Like, I mean, all anyone's really thought about has been the pandemic, and today kind of reminded him, like, that nowhere's safe. Like, that maybe the pandemic's gone away, maybe not. Like, you guys don't know. But this has just proven that people are going to continue to be shitty, no matter if it's the end of the world or not. So, kind of a somber mood there this evening. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, people are milling around. Like, I guess I'm not trying to lead you to anything, but I guess like what conversations are you guys having as residents of the town? Like, are you driving conversations in any way? And again, somber mood while people are discussing this, but I guess how are you guys feeling about things?
Is there a leader in the town? We said the old guy was kind of liked by everybody and whatever.
Yeah, no, there's no one, right? They're really, again, like it's only been the last like few weeks that people are starting to come out, right? And so there's like families, and you'll see people from here to there, but like no, there's no official leader in the town.
I know I specifically, if I'm not familiar with the gentleman who was interceding earlier and now saying, right you are, we should talk. If I'm not strictly familiar with him, I'm probably seeking him out and starting to ask some questions.
So it's this guy. Let me ping him on the screen. It's this guy, Trent, right? So he's been standing talking to, and you guys are all on the screen now, right? So he's been standing talking to Tom for most of the evening, but that's the guy that spoke to you earlier, Sven.
Okay. Because he had mentioned that he'd been thinking about that for a while now, and I'm like, okay, what do you know that I don't know?
So he nods at you as you kind of head over towards him, and he says, like good work getting that little girl back to her mother. It shows that you and those other guys, like you're true blue guys. Like he feels that he can trust you. So and he asks you. His name's Trent, by the way. But he starts asking you, like he says, like he hasn't seen you around. Like he starts asking you. Not pointed questions, but you can tell he's trying to understand who you are, right? So he's not really engaging in small talk, but he's asking you questions about like, hey, thank you for changing the screen there, Matt. He's asking you questions about, hey, like, so how long have you been in the town, like, and how are you connected to everything?
Well, it's funny that you say that. I've been here for over a decade, and it's funny how we haven't run into each other once in that entire time.
So he says he's only been there a couple of years, right? He said that he moved here, and he's very, open about his history. He says that he was a sheriff in Arkansas in a small town. He did that for 25 years, and then he became a circuit judge. He retired, a year or so before the pandemic. He always wanted to live in the Pacific Northwest. He loves fishing. He was done with Arkansas and the shitty weather. The sweaty weather. He wanted to move up there. So he'd moved here just before like the pandemic really kind of kicked in. And he said he was like, he's got a house that's just like on the North Shore. It's actually not far from the hotel where you've been staying. So it doesn't surprise you, right? If you moved here just before the pandemic, like everything kind of shut down and no one kind of interacted with each other. So that all seems very plausible to you.
Okay.
And he goes on to talk about, what it meant today was that this is no good. He said, like, everyone's been fending for themselves and it's all been fine right up until today, right? And he said, like, he hadn't really thought much about it. He's just been looking after himself and the people in his kind of like corner of the town, like kind of looking after them. He said, but there's just too many people here. He said, like, how many people are still as vital? Like, previously, you guys have thought like somewhere between maybe 400 and 600 people in this area, right? Like this whole kind of like the map of Astoria. He said, like, that's too many people to start trusting people. And that's too many people. It's too many points of entry and too many points where other people can become vulnerable. So while he's talking to you, Sven, you get a sense that this guy's like serious, right? About he understands like what he's doing. He's been a sheriff before. He's been responsible for a small town before and keeping it safe. So he kind of tells you that's what he meant this morning, that he just doesn't think that it's wise to allow things to go on like this.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fair.
So, after he's finished talking to you, Sven, do you have any questions or anything that you're saying to
him? So he was working in the court system, more or less, while he was here? Okay. Does he have any familiarity with any gangs in the area or any groups that would be considered gangs that he can remember?
No, he said like he moved here to retire. He says that he kind of laughs at you as he says that, and he's like, "Hey, I did my homework, but part of the reason I moved to Astoria," he said, it was between here and another town you've heard of that's like 30 miles away on the coast called Seaside. He was like, he just made a choice, and it was like Astoria just looked like a prettier place. He said he did his homework, low crime rate, no gangs in the area. He said like he wouldn't have moved here if this had been a high crime. He moved here to retire and relax, not to not to chase after criminals in his retirement.
Oh, for sure. Just a bunch of, nosy tourists.
Yep. So,
go ahead.
oh, sorry.
I was going to say that the crazies there were mentioning what sounded like they led on to believe they were part of some sort of fanatical group that might be somewhat closer than we think.
Yeah, he's very serious, like how he responds to that. He says, "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me." He said, like, there's he said religion's always been like a bedrock for man, and when you go through the end times, he said it wouldn't surprise him if there are like cults and religions and churches and sects and things that have sprung up everywhere, right? And he said he hasn't seen any of them, and he's been doing like loose laps of the town over the last week or so, and he said it all seems pretty quiet, but none of what you said surprises him.
Okay.
So as he kind of winds down talking to you, he looks around and he realizes there's like a ton of people in the town. So he's got a plate, right? People have been handing out plates of fish, and he gets his plate and a spoon and like just starts banging it against it to get people's attention, right? So he makes this little speech, excuse me, about how he's basically making his case to all the people there why they should believe in him, right? And he says, these are bad times. He says, like, I've been dealing with bad times and bad people my whole life. He said, right now, this has proven we're weak and we're vulnerable. He says, today was just two crazies that stole a girl and we were lucky enough to get them back. He says, who knows who's going to be next time? And he says he's not willing to find out. So, he continues in his speech and he talks about how he has the skill set. He can deputize people. He'll figure out the right way to keep the town safe. But everyone in the town is going to have to do what he wants them to do, right? And there's going to, he's not going to brook any argument. People are going to have to fall in line behind them because if they don't, he can't guarantee their safety. So he's giving this speech. So just, what, you guys are listening to, and it's not impassioned, right? It's very cold and mechanical, but it's also very methodical, right? So again, this guy's obvious that he's done this, and he knows all the right notes to strike or to kind of like hit to try and get people on side. So he's speaking for about 10 minutes or so about why everyone should fall in line behind him, and kind of like he'll look after people as long as people will kind of like believe in him. So I guess not what are you guys doing, but you're standing there listening to him. Thoughts, feedback, like interactions, like questions for him. Like, what's your reaction to all of this?
It sounds good so far.
Is he going beyond though? Is it like, do we believe that he's even this person?
I mean, if you want to make some perception check or like a psychology check or something to see whether or not you get a sense of anything from this guy, but right now you've never seen him before today. But he was there this morning, right? He was there at the outbreak of all of this, right? And he seemed to be like a voice of reason. He was organizing search parties. So from what you've seen of him so far, yeah, like seems to be a stand-up guy. And it doesn't surprise any of you that he says he was former law enforcement or a judge, just the way he reacted this morning in the kind of light of this kid being kidnapped. But feel free to make a roll to see if you can, take anything else from him.
Dare I say it? What do you want me to roll?
Intimidate.
I would say perception or psychology.
I'm staying away from psychology. It's -3.
Yeah, and you wouldn't get a +6. You're not dealing with a kid.
Boom. First one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a southern accent. He holds himself. He has what seems to be like a sheriff's hat on. He holds himself like every other law enforcement guy that you've ever seen, and he seems to be able to, command the attention of a group of people. So everything that you see about him lines up with who he says that he is.
I'm uncomfortable because I don't like taking orders, but I'm just gonna hang back and see what happens. Because if he gets a little
Bell
too
pepper.
yeah,
Former military hates orders.
Yeah.
that's right. That's why I was dishonorably discharged.
Honorable discharge. No, I beat up my commanding officer. I got confused. I can see how you're going to be in this. It's going to be great.
He didn't like my bell peppers, so
Death for bell peppers. All right, so Teach, you get a sense of him that he's who he is. Sven, he's been preaching to you, and you've kind of heard this. Lance, I mean, I heard you say sounds good to you, and Maria, you sound like you fucking hate it. So this guy's kind of winding down, and he basically, he points at Rachel and Janice as examples of what happens when you let your guard down. And he says, like, you guys need to, fall in line behind me and I'll keep you safe. What's it going to be?
I'm going to agree with the sentiment. I'm not going to doubt that something needs to happen. The only thing I fear is I just want to see what kind of plan he has laid out, even if it's not like super vague, but as long as it's got some general method to the madness, because I'd hate to see suddenly a town just turn into a monarchy.
So he says he doesn't have all the details filled out. But right now, what his idea of protection is deputizing, as he calls it, a handful of good men, giving them patrol routes, making sure that they can secure like lines into the city. And he says from there, we'll take it from there. We'll start talking about supplies next. We'll start talking about making sure that we have enough fuel to get through the next winter. We'll start talking about turning some of this land into farmland, right? So he seems to have not exactly a grand vision, but it all starts with, hey, I'm going to deputize a couple of people. We're going to try and keep this area safe from whatever, and we'll see where we go from there.
All right. For a kickstart, it sounds reasonable.
Until he
Teach or
steps
launch
out of line, and then we got to shoot him.
So Teach is fine with it. He will just stay.
I say in my head out loud.
So this guy Mitchell kind of moves towards him and says, he agrees with the need for security, right? He agrees that there's no way around it. He said and he points at you guys and he says, if it wasn't for the bell pepper farmer and her guys, right, this little girl would never have been back with us, right? And so, what he doesn't agree with is he doesn't really like the cut of Trent's jib, right? So he doesn't really feel that this is the time to be bossing people around. He says, I worked at Nike in Seattle for years. I ran teams of hundreds of people. I was responsible for big parts of the business. I can do this without giving orders, right? We've all got skills that we can bring to this. But he says, he doesn't really feel living in a police state, right? And he says, everything you're saying to us right now, Trent, it feels like this. You're talking about turning this into a monarchy, as someone said earlier, right? This will be your little fiefdom. So there's this little backwards and forwards between this guy Mitchell and Trent, right? And you don't, you've seen both of them around town, but none of you guys know these guys or who they are. But it seems like, the crowd is pretty much evenly divided, right? A bunch of people are saying they just want this guy Trent. He seems to have an idea. Let's keep them safe. There's a bunch of people that Mitchell knows, right, that are saying that we agree with Mitchell. We don't feel that we need a king trying to take over the town or tell us what to do. We just need to work together to make sure that we're safe. So it seems pretty quickly or pretty clearly that there are two camps that are forming, right? The almost the follow me and I'll keep you safe versus the I'm not quite sure what we should do, but I don't know if we should believe in the cowboy over here. They seem to be the two rough camps.
Go Team Mitchell.
My initial thought would be, I think for the sense of urgency, I think getting everything locked down would be kind of the utmost importance, but any demand he makes, he needs to be willing to justify it. Because it's not like he's got stupid comment. It's not like he's got a whole government to hide behind. It's just him and whoever he's deputized. But as long as he can justify what's going on, I'd be okay at first with the little bit of bossing around until we get to a point where, okay, now let's step back and see what Mitchell's got going on here for an idea.
Peach or Lance or Miss Bell Pepper, any thoughts?
I'm just gonna more or less wait and see from now on. See how they both develop, see what goes on. I don't have strong leanings one way or another.
I'm gonna wait too, but have like a backup plan if I have to bail. But yeah.
Teach asks, was it Tom?
Yeah.
No, Mitchell. Sorry, the other.
Oh, I thought you meant the old guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitchell's the contender.
Am I right in saying then that Mitchell, that you could handle the town's problems overall if we put Trent in charge of, at least initially, the law enforcement side of stuff, then get the best of both worlds?
Yeah, so Mitchell says, like, points at you and says, that is exactly what I'm saying to you. I don't think that we need to be, being told what to do. I think that we need to play to our strengths. Trent, if you think you can secure the town, secure the town. Like, you don't need to, like, take control to do this. And I think that we should have, like, what amounts to an election. So Mitchell agrees with you, right? He doesn't want to give up. Frankly, it sounds like he doesn't want to give up what he sees as his like rights or freedoms almost, right? Like this guy is like all about like bossing people around. Doesn't sit well with Mitchell, right? So Trent kind of begrudgingly agrees in the sense that like, yeah, like the most important thing right now. Did you just do a perception check there? Hey, Teach, was that you?
No, it's Mina. She started to type, so it jumped the text.
Oh yeah, jiggled.
I
the
saw
chat.
something move out the corner of my eye, so I thought a dice would roll. I like this Mitchell fella. He likes you too, Bell Pepper Girl. So Mitchell says, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we take the next like 5 or 6 days? We'll come back together. There's, he points one more thing out. He says, there's way too many people in this town just to appoint a leader based on the people in this park, right? Like what, and he kind of says to Mitchell, what are you going to do? He's going to go and knock on people's doors that weren't here and say that you're now their boss and hope they don't shoot you in their doorway. He kind of like says this is a ridiculous idea. So he suggests taking the next week or so to kind of like canvas, right? To talk about to all the different people in the area and then figure out what to do.
Yeah. It's been a couple times where too many people in the town has been brought up.
Say that again.
I said there's been a couple times here where too many people in the town has been brought up as a comment.
Does he mean too many people separated and we don't know who they are and where they are, etc.? Or do you mean just too many people?
No. So he means there's like 30 people in the park and there's like 400 or 500 people like living in Astoria. Still,
right? Yeah, sample size. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, not like he's not a genocider, right? There won't be any kind of like genociding going on, right? He didn't mean it in that way. He just meant like, hey, we can't make a decision for everyone in this town based on the number of people who are here and expect everyone to go along with it. So meaning Trent can't wake up tomorrow and just like turn up at people's houses and say, well, I'm suddenly your boss, right? That's what Mitchell's saying. Like you need time to gather the people on the island and talk to them about what's going on and then figure out like steps forward.
So Sven's not exactly like Teach in his upbringing. So given what he has witnessed today and whatever background story we make up for the people I know here that aren't here anymore for whichever reason they're not here, given what's happened today, I'm still more inclined to, in the immediate future, start with Trent to get stuff done and then let Mitchell come in and take over from there to have Trent be off in his own little world, running his own little section of our little town government.
So Trent gets the sense he kind of looks at you and he's like, I mean, he almost like, does this with you, right? So he says, this guy has it, right? He says, I'm going to deputize you. I'm going to like points at Teach. He points at Lance, right? Because you guys were the ones that rescued. He says, like, you're my deputies, right? So he looks over at Mitchell and he says, you do what you need. Me and my boys are going to secure the town. right? So whether you want it or not, he's just announced that you three are all his deputies going forward. Not just you, but again, like based on your comments, Van, it seems like he's trying to jump the gun or manipulate the system or win you over by looking at the three heroes of the moment and saying to the town, well, the three heroes are my first three deputies to keep us safe.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm just
you
a
all
librarian
You were.
with no pants.
Man, every librarian has their day, Matt. Don't be like that about it. Like every librarian gets to like raise a people's army and seize control of the state, right? Or not. Can you all make a perception check for me?
You do this on purpose, don't you, Tony?
Which part?
Perception.
I put in chat today, like I'm getting rid of it. I'm getting rid of it.
Hey, 1-1.
Yeah, I got one as well. Holy moly, we got everyone.
Oh,
Everyone
really?
won.
Right now at the end? So,
Yeah.
Maria, you're the
beans
first one. Your bell peppers have staged an army. No, you're the first one to notice it, but you hear a plane going overhead. So the episode ends, or this session ends, with Maria looking up, and she's the first one to notice it, but everyone notices it, right? Like the whole town notices it, and you look up, and there's a twin prop plane, and it's high enough that you've got no idea whether it sees you, but it's low enough that you guys can hear it, and it moves ahead and goes north across the distance, the bridge towards the north.